Welcome everyone. Thank you guys for joining tonight. Tonight I've got a special guest commentary box with me. Theed, how you doing, man?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. How you doing, Aspen?
I'm doing good. Enjoying the lockdown still.
Aren't we all?
I think most of the people is,
Yeah, I don't think so, but I hear you.
So are you exciting to have your first commentary session on Formula One tonight?
Yeah, it's going to be a change of scenery. I'm quite interested to see what differences we're gonna find out together. I'm sure I've got a lot to learn, so that should be fun.
Yeah, well, like I said, the first 10 minutes we'll sort that out for you. So by the time the real racing starts, then you'll be in it already.
Semi-expert.
Basically, yes. We're gonna make you an expert in 10 minutes. Don't you worry about it. Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you tonight on board with me.
Thank you.
Getting you away from your normal streams, like funny games that you were playing today. That I actually saw you finishing today.
I did.
I don't know what that game was called. Something Planet Savage or what? Savage Planet.
Journey to the Savage Planet. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but you know what? It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It's definitely no racing game. I mean, I ran pretty fast now and again, but there wasn't really much of a track or anything. I jumped off the side of the map a few times, which is basically the equivalent of crashing, I guess. So there's some similarity.
Okay, so that game is for flat earthers. Is that what you want to say?
Yeah, for flat earthers. Yeah,
Okay.
you like to go at like a normal pace.
And where you can fall off the edge.
Yes, there we go.
Okay, so we're just waiting for the last couple of guys to join in the lobby before we start racing. One of them has been struggling for almost 10 minutes to get in. As you guys can see there, Zunaid is busy loading in again. Let's hope he can get in and stay in. And then as soon as he's in, we will start the lobby and the racing can commence. So I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Can commence.
Can commence. Okay, is that the way?
Men's is also fun. You confused me though, because I was like, I actually don't know the right word now that you've... It's an immensely commencing, I think. We can go with that.
Sorry, I'm just quickly sending a message here. It seems that the guys are still struggling to log in. So I'm going to have my UK admin member start the lobby to see if we can get a better connection for the rest of the guys.
Fair enough.
So yeah, guys, we really apologize for the delay. Yeah, it's not always easy to get these things set up and going according to plan. When it does go according to plan, it's brilliant. And if it doesn't, then there's problems.
That's the truth. That is the truth. Yeah, so I'm quite excited to see what these guys can do on the racetrack. I think, obviously you've had me with some Forza, and I think it's a completely different sort of genre of racing in comparison to F1 cars.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting to see a lot more tactical. Even though the Forza racing is very tactical, I think that the F1 is going to be more so. You're going to see the guys being a lot more respectful of each other.
The big thing that you need to remember of Formula One is if you crash, and you can either crash and ruin your entire race and DNF, because if you lose a wheel, there's no coming back from there. You're completely out. You can crash and damage your wing slightly. You can still continue on. You'll be a bit slower, but you can still carry on racing. If you remove your wing completely, you have to go into the pit to put on a new wing. You will already lose like 10 seconds in the lap, and then you lose another 10 seconds in the pit. So yeah, the guys are very more careful when it comes to overtaking in the Formula One. Okay. But in the end of the day, it can still be a vicious one. Okay, I see my counterpart has...
He started up the session.
He started up a session. I'm going to join on him, and then I'm going to invite you to that lobby.
No problem. So when I see you leave, I'll join yours.
Okay, sweet. Now I've got 106, and now to try and find that one guy that I need to join on.
You're such a nonna, but you can go over to people busy playing certain games. That's a bit easier than going through your friends list. But you're there now, so.
Oh, I see. If you go to friends in games.
Friends in games, go down to F1.
Okay, well, F1 I've got 16 guys in F1, so it would have been like the first guy there.
Pretty much the same.
Okay,
yeah.
See, so now you've taught me something about that.
There we go.
No, that's awesome.
A bit easier.
Yeah,
that's quite a nice little filter system.
Yes, I didn't even know about that. You're never too old to learn.
That's it.
Oh, man. Okay, so it looks like we've already got 9 guys here. Are you joining already? Okay, I see.
I'm in.
And already on spectate.
It's learning, eh?
That's good. That's good. The faster we learn, the better it will be, eh? Hey.
So let me ask you. Yeah. Okay. Now you do your things.
No, I'm just checking
the questions.
the lobby settings here, making sure he's putting it on the correct stuff. Because the last time he was yeah. The thing is, we've got a corner cutting this thickness. Yes, I can't pronounce that word. I'm not even going to try. It has to be on strict.
Right. And what does a strict mean?
It means if you cut a corner by a millimeter, you get penalized.
Okay. Time, obviously a time penalty on your final.
Yes. Well, you get 3 chances. First and second time, you get a warning. It's like, listen here, don't cut the corners. If you do the third time, 3-second penalty.
Ouch.
Yeah, so
fourth time?
Then they start again, giving you a warning. Okay, you'll see the guys can get up to 26 seconds penalties, you know.
Ouch.
So at the end of the race, that can make a huge difference. Our previous season, we had a race around Hockenheim. So it worked out that from, I think it was 4th place to 7th place, on the racetrack itself, we were within 3 seconds of each other. From 4th place to 7th place. Now that's 4 guys.
Jeez.
So
yeah.
At the end of that, penalties made the difference of the guy that was 7th finishing 4th and the guy that was 4th finishing 6th.
No way.
That is how much.
Just from the penalties.
Just from the penalties. We've seen guys losing a win because of a penalty, you know. So yeah, it can be tough.
You don't really know what your penalty is going to be like until the very end.
No,
you like a counter on screen.
Well,
that you're aware of.
You get told that you've got a 3-second penalty,
okay,
but
right.
You get told that once with a warning on the screen. Then if you get another one, it will tell you, listen, you got another 3-second penalty. But it doesn't constantly tell you how much you've accumulated.
How many penalties you've got.
Yes.
Okay.
So that makes it a bit interesting. Yes. Yeah, well, basically. So what I'll do when I'm racing is I will try and keep count in my head. Okay, listen, okay, that's my first one, my second one, my third one. I'll try and keep ahead of that, and then...
maybe you should re-look at this corner cutting stringency for yourself.
Well, it works both ways, but the thing is, if you put it like that, the guys try and keep it clean, because if you get the fastest lap for the race, if you are placed between 1st and 10th, you get a bonus point for that fast lap.
Okay.
So, and it needs to be a clean lap.
That's very interesting.
Yes, so yeah, that makes it quite. So the guys are pushing for that clean lap, and to have it on strict, it really puts it out there to say, listen here, guys,
behave yourselves.
You need to behave.
No dirty tactics.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just waiting to find out what's happening now.
No worries.
Hey, we've got one guy.
All the settings on the right.
Yeah, it looks that way. Safety cars on.
In.
Is he in now?
He's in.
Can he select a car? That's the most important. Can he select a car? I don't know who is John Okay, these got kicked now. Okay, so that's good.
Nice.
Donator's in a car, so that's good. Rest is all good.
Do you guys often have random people try and join the games?
Yes, we do. But the thing is, what we do is we put the lobby on friends only.
Okay.
So if there is guys joining, it is normally friends.
Of someone in the lobby.
Of someone in the lobby, yes. We had it on open previously, and then guys will join in, and then they'll stuff up a race for you.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then we also had it on invite only. But that means then if someone DCs from the race, he needs to beg someone to invite him back to the race.
Send him another invite. Yeah.
Yes, and it's not always easy like that, because if you're in a battle for a position, if you take that 3 or 4 seconds to invite the guy back to their game, you lose a bit of time as well. Yes,
absolutely.
So it gets intense sometimes. So that's why we put it on friends only, and these guys need to make sure they've got everyone as friends. Yeah, so it looks like we were just waiting for one more guy now. He restarted his router.
So let me ask you as well. You just, I don't know, you put your hand up if you need me to not ask you questions.
No, you can ask
if
away.
You're focusing. How many people can join? Do you ever find yourself in a position where you need to host 2 lobbies?
No, not yet.
Meetings?
Not yet. We have 20 guys registered on the league.
Perfect.
But there is some of them that can't race always, so we've got the guys that can race every now and then. They will then join for a once-off event. Like last week, we had a full lobby of 20 drivers.
That's nice. Right?
But you can't have more than 20 drivers because there's only 20 cars.
Yes, yeah.
And they all understand that. Then you've got the guys that halfway in the season they quit out and things like that. Then there's space for the reserve guys to take over their spots. But we haven't had enough guys in the beginning of a season to say, okay, we're going to have 2 lobbies.
Okay.
So, but if it gets to that where we have more than 20 guys that wants to race, and they're all going to race can race at the same night, then we will start thinking about splitting the lobby up in 12, whatever the case might be.
14, 14, whatever it is. But you got to start off with a full lobby every night for 4 weeks or
something like that. Yeah, it needs to be consistent for the guys for us to do that. Okay, so it seems that we are starting. The last guy can't join.
Okay, he's given up. So you guys all on a WhatsApp group?
Yes, we are in a WhatsApp group. Yeah, we are in the process of trying to get on Discord as well.
Good stuff.
The thing with Discord is that is the lobby is about to start. So Discord is very popular.
Xbox is about to blow up.
It does sound like it now, like a countdown timer, like something's about to happen. Getting back to Discord. Discord is a very useful. I don't know what you actually call it. Platform, yes. But it's very difficult for Xbox users to be on Discord. Because Xbox users, exactly, because the Discord app on the phone isn't that user friendly in my experience.
And it's freaking irritating.
Yes,
it really is frustrating to use.
And most of them don't have a PC at home or laptop, whatever. So it makes it very difficult for these guys to be active on Discord. So we are starting to go into that direction because there is more games that is starting to be cross-platform.
Absolutely.
So we've created the server, but we need to still set it up and get it right, and still testing a bunch of things out. So we'll see how it goes in the future, but that is in the process of happening. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've got our the Facebook page. So if the guys are interested in joining Forza or Formula One, they can just join the ORLSA Facebook page, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so see, the first session is 17 minutes long, 18 minutes actually. So to go through the drivers, you'll use your bottom triggers, left and right trigger.
Okay, cool.
Yes, so left is up and right is down.
Cool.
Okay, so as you move down, that will automatically change over to that driver. You don't have to go down and then press A, it will go down to that driver. So we've got Gary Braden out on track now, or exiting the pit. I see there's another guy going out. Dean
Grease.
and Savas Grease is also out on track. That is correct. It wasn't Gary, it was Savas actually. Gary's still in pit. It was a bit confusing for a minute there. Okay, so then you'll see you've got at the bottom right, you've got spectator menu. If you press that, what I normally do is camera type I leave on broadcast. Gap I leave on fastest lap in qualifying. Detail, normally I'll go with best. That is the type of tire they are on now. Telemetry I always put on. That is for the guys to show how fast the guys are going on the track and so on, the speed. Lap time data I've always got enabled, because that will show what the guy's lap time is during the lap. So if he's busy with sector 1, you can see if he's fasting through sector 1 or slower through sector 1, and also at the end of the lap how much faster he was over the entire lap, or how much slower he was.
Own personal lap time?
No, yes, on his own personal
lap time. Is that in
time.
relation to... Okay.
Yes. Then at the bottom I've got always the full track map on, because then you can also see who's on track. So especially during the race, you can actually go to and see, oh wait, there's two guys very close to each other, let's join in on that battle. Yes.
Okay.
So it's and also during the race, you'll see the detail. No, not the detail. The gap. You can change that to the gap between the guys, the interval time. That also helps you to determine who to spectate on. Okay, so I'm currently on Savas Grease. Oh, so he just did a purple first sector. So he's in the second sector now, coming through the chicane here. A very tricky chicane, because if you take it wrong, it will bounce the car off track, and you can also damage the car. Coming to the end of the second sector, but wide, still does a purple sector. If the game is put on strict, so there is a possibility that this lap might be invalid, because he went wide there. He's coming through to the final corner, a very famous corner this.
Is there a reason I should know it?
Well, in Formula 1 it's a famous corner. It's one of the only corner basically that finishes like that, and the amount of speed the guys carry through that corner is amazing. The Savas with a 1 minute 19.2. So I know these guys at one stage they were putting up 1 minute 17s. So that was actually slow for Savas. Exubia just went fastest with a 1 minute 18.2. So that was actually quite a good lap in a McLaren.
So now the guys right here are setting lap times, battling out for the second qualifier?
Yes. So, because we are only 15 guys, all 15 of them will go through to the next qualifying session. So these guys will just take it easy, trying to learn the track. But normally if you have more than 15 drivers, 16 to 20, then from position 16th to 20th will drop out of this qualifying. So that will be them done until the race starts. Okay, we've got Gary with a 1 minute 18.1 now. We've still got a lot of guys in the pits. We've got Romano actually coming back into the pit without doing a lap. That's strange. He probably damaged his wing.
Now, these damages that they do during qualifying, it doesn't have any effect on anything going into the game.
No, into the race. Yeah.
Into the race.
Yeah, so they can, if they damage their car, they come back into the pits, they fix it, they go back out and try again. But you need to keep an eye on the timer as well, because if there's a possibility of you running out of time.
Oh, okay.
And that has happened a couple of times.
So, would there be any sort of strategy as to why they would be still pitted at this time in the qualifying race? Do you think they're sort of reserving themselves? They're aware that in the second qualifier is only where they really need to pitch?
The thing with the second, now this is where it gets very interesting. So the tires that they use on their second qualifying session, that is the tires that they need to start the race on.
Okay, and do they take some wear during the qualification?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you do a qualifying lap, you'll probably get about between 4 to 6% of tire wear. That tire with that percentage of wear is a tire that you will start the race on. So that, so qualifying, or the second qualifying, is where the guys start showing their strategies out. Because you've got guys so you also get 3 different sets of tires. You get a soft, like this red one, you got a yellow one, medium, and then you've got a white one, hard.
Okay.
So the soft one is the fastest tire. It's sometimes up to 1.5 seconds faster than the yellow tire, the medium tire.
Right.
So you get guys going out on the soft tire on qualifying 2, just to make sure they get into the top 10 for the third and final qualifying session.
Cool.
Then you get those guys that is thinking about a strategy in the race and trying to go as far into the race as possible. They will be qualifying on medium sets of tires. So that makes it very interesting. You see, we've got a yellow flag on sector 2. We've got someone actually tracking.
Jake's
it's
just done a bit of a spin.
And that is a very difficult corner as well. If you touch the curb, the back end comes out and you lose it.
Exactly what just happened there. I was, for some reason, spectating him.
You
and that
are
was
lucky.
my ooh outburst.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense now. So yeah, but at this stage the guy's just putting on a lap time to get through, while just trying out the track. None of them is going all out.
Okay.
Like I said, they were doing between 1 minute 16s, 1 minute 17s during their practices over the last week.
So they really are taking it quite easy during this road, during this.
Exactly.
Now, would you? So this is really, at the moment, the guys are just feeling out how they should be taking the corners, their sort of position going in and out of each sector. So they just, obviously they knew prior to tonight that they were going to be doing this race, so they could have been practicing.
Yeah, and they all were practicing. Well, the thing is, one thing that everyone needs to remember as well, each online lobby has a different feel to it.
Okay.
Like
You're gonna have to.
the track conditions, like now, is light cloudy, which is already cooling down the track a bit. But if they were practicing in hot without clouds, the track would have been on fire and they would have done very quick laps. And that also transgresses to the race, where if it's a cooler day, the track temperature is cooler, the tires are going to react differently. So it all depends on how these guys set up their lobbies when they were practicing. The only time where a race stays consistent is if you put it full rain, wet for the entire race, then it stays exactly the same. But you also have, you can heat a puddle now in the rain and you can ruin your race. But in practicing, you didn't heat the puddle and you didn't ruin your race. So it can change from race to race as well.
And do the guys know what sort of weather settings you're going to go into the race with? Do you set it up to a specific standard, or do you sort of surprise them and say, cool, this is what you're getting the morning of, or just when they load in, they're like, oh.
Okay, so what we do is we work on a. Okay, I see Romano did a 1 minute 17.6 now. He's currently fastest in the lobby now. Okay, so what we do is we follow AccuWeather.
All right.
Okay, yeah, Rifi just went fastest with 1 minute 17.5. That puts him
just
first.
just edging.
They're just starting to show their pace now. So we're still waiting. I'm still waiting for Gary to show his pace because he is fast and he's currently in the Mercedes. So we're waiting for him to show his colors.
We don't know from the outskirts who's driving what, other than when we load it onto their vehicle. The colors don't specify what vehicle they are.
No, it actually does. Yes,
it does. Okay.
Yes. So the top two guys, Rifi and Romano, has got a dark blue color. That is the Red Bull Racing team. Then you'll see Gary has got a light blue, and Notnat's also light blue. That is the Merc, the Mercedes.
Okay.
Then orange, Exubia and Fury, they are in the McLaren. Jake's is in between dark blue and light blue color. I don't know what you call that color actually, but that is a Toro Rosso. Yellow is Renault Tamer Curve. Savas Grease is in the pink car. That is it used to be the Force India, now it's Racing Point. Economic Berry.
Racing Point.
Yeah, Economic Berry is in a darker orange type of bronze color. That is the Haas team. No, Zunaid is yellow. Zunaid is it's a different one. So the bronze type of orange is Haas, the bunny team. Albert's is in a very, you can almost say it's a grey blue color. That is the Williams. Then you've got a maroon type of color. That is the Alpha team.
All right. Is that on Dandadu?
Dandadu is on a pink one. He's in a
These colors are difficult, eh?
Yeah, the dark maroon color. If you look on ORLSA Dean and Whistler, they are in the Alpha.
Alright.
And I see we don't have any Ferraris tonight.
Yeah, I was really expecting that to be the Ferrari color.
Yeah, the Ferrari is a bit lighter red than the Alpha.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you should have it all under control now of how to spectate this game.
Just about.
So now we're just waiting. I see no one is out on track. Everyone is waiting for this last 4 minutes to go past.
It's to burn out. I was asked, did we see Ramon stop in the pit exit?
No, Crave, I did not. I saw him stop in his pit box. The Crave, did you pick up something there that we probably did not pick up? Definitely. Checking the chat so that everyone is ready for this.
So there's two grayed out names there. Have they been disconnected, or have they just left the lap because they're happy with their first qualifier?
Yeah, so what they did is they went out to their pits, and then they decided they can press start and then they retire from session, or from the first qualifying session.
All right.
Most of the guys normally does it in the first qualifying, especially if we're less than 15 drivers. Because then you get the first session over and done with in 5 minutes. Everyone goes out, does a lap, goes into the pits, quit the session.
All right, and
retire
then
from
if
the
everyone
session.
if everyone retires from the session, does it?
Yeah, then we automatically go to the next session,
Go
the
into
next
the sec-
qualifying.
okay.
Yes. So yeah, it does help. I see we've got a yellow flag. Is that Dean actually going wide on the first corner? It looks like him and Whistler out on track. Whistler is doing his out lap, so he's going to try and put on a fast lap now.
Okay.
I'm currently spectating on him.
And let's talk a little bit about the colors. So you said earlier, after someone's done a lap, they get a purple lap, and I see there's green on the map as well. Is that in relation to that specific driver?
No. So the map, the green points on the map, you'll see there's one on the start-finish straight, and then just after turn 1, there's another green area. That is called a DRS zone. So they've got a wing on the rear wing. If they are in that area, they can open up the DRS. You see, and the Whistler just at a purple first sector, and then he dirtied the lap. The rest of the lap is red.
I see. Okay. All right. I see.
Okay.
So now he's ruined his lap time. So
he's ruined his lap. So he's going. So yeah, he needs to do another one. So what happens is that green area, they can open the DRS, which means they get more straight line speed because there's no drag on the rear wing. So the wing just goes through it and doesn't get stuck on it.
Now, does that open? So if I'm looking at just past the final corner on the third section, opens up on the straight and then closes down at the next green section. Is that how the DRS works?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's an automatic thing. So you open
No. You need to open it up, and once you hit the brakes, it automatically closes. So if you're on Whistler now, you can see his rear wing is open, and as he hits the brakes, it closes.
Closes up. Okay, I'll pay attention to that.
Yeah, he's gonna open. There opens it again.
I see. Okay.
And then it closes as he hits the brakes.
Right.
That is actually quite nifty in the race. You can only use that after the third lap or after the second lap, beginning of the third lap. But you need to be within 1 second of the guy in front of you.
You have to be within. Okay,
Yeah.
so if there's no one around you, you're not allowed to use it.
No, then you can't use it. So that is
something that's controlled by the game?
Yes. Yeah, the game will tell you, or your engineer will tell you, okay, listen here, you're within 1 second of the guy ahead of you, you'll have DRS in the next straight, then you can actually try and overtake him. It's there to promote overtaking.
Okay.
Because at one stage, Formula 1 got very stale with no overtaking. I'm still on board with... And Whistler just did... he actually... in 9th place, but he did 2 purple sectors. I see Dean is still doing a lap. Let's see what Dean does.
But now, so time remaining, is that for Dean to sort of finish his lap? So
yes.
Whistler can't now get himself another lap time.
No. Once the Q1, next to Q1, there's a 0 timer.
Yes.
Once that is on 0 and you cross the finish line, that means you're done.
Okay.
You don't even have control over the car anymore. It's automatic thing.
Oh, I see it. Just the AI takes over.
Yes. But what this means is, like, now Dean is going into the pits. So the timer will still count down until he's in his pit box or the countdown timer is on 0. Then we will go to the next session. If he stayed on track, he would have... if he crossed the line, the session would have stopped. But now he's in the pit box, and now the session is going to stop.
Unless Whistler just went past it. But
no.
Even he's left...
No. Whistler definitely went over the line after the zeros.
Okay.
Yeah, so he wasn't in control of his car anymore. We're just waiting for the session to... There we go.
There we go.
So we've got Rifi with the fastest time of the 1 minute 17.5, and then Romano with the 1 minute 17.6. Second place. Gary with the 1 minute 18. Gary only did 1 lap. I didn't see him go on track again. And then Dana do at the back with a 1 minute 21.0.
Just to be
15 guys.
100% clear,
Yes.
these race times have no relation to anything going into this next qualifying.
No, nothing.
Okay. It's just, it's literally just because they can.
Yes, exactly. Well, like I said, if there was more guys racing tonight, 16 to 20 guys, then those guys would have fallen out now, and they would have started in that position that they finished that first qualifying session in. So now it's up to who gets top 10 and who goes out for the final qualifying sessions, which is 12 minutes. So the guys get about 3 laps to do in those 12 minutes to see who gets pole position, who starts first on the grid.
Do you wanna take any guesses? Are you you sound like you like Gary a lot.
Well, at this stage, Gary is in the fastest car, and he is one of our fastest drivers. So he's had 2 pole positions in the last 2 races.
Wow.
Yes. So it's it's a good one for him. So he is on quite of a roll. He actually won our previous race as well. So for him not to win, we'll take something special from someone else. And we've got Whistler that is able to do something special. We've got Economic Berry that has shown as well he's got special talent. And Savas Grease, he's even won in a Williams, which is the slowest car. So yeah, there is some fast guys out there, even if they are in slower cars.
Do you think that we're going to have any guys not leaving the pit for this session?
No, everyone has to leave the pit.
Has to, okay.
Yes.
So we're going to see some pretty exciting racing now, but the guys are going to try keep it clean and set the best time that they obviously can.
Yes. Well, these guys will check who's where on track, and then they'll go out according to that. See, there's more or less there's gaps between the guys, so they try and not go out one after the other, unless they are teammates like Tamer Curve and Zunaid. The one is trying to give the other one a bit of a toe on the straight.
All right.
Yeah, so that helps a bit as well. Yes.
Do they accumulate team points?
Yes,
in the
they do.
races?
They
Okay,
do.
all right.
So how it works is according to your team position in the championship standings, you get given a car according to your standings.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So you've got a fast guy teamed up with a slow guy. Our team standings was so close after the previous round that there's like 3 or 4 teams within 10 points of each other, you know. So it gets very close between them. And like now, the best team for this session so far is Whistler and Dean. They are in a team together, and they are currently on the top of the standing. So that's why they are in the slowest car.
All right. That's
Yes.
very interesting.
Yeah, very
So now-
interesting.
Just okay. So your car choice, is it per race? Or is it per season?
No,
So how you
per
finished
4
the last
races.
season? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
per
so
4
every
races.
4 races we check how the standings is, and then we give the guys cars according to that, to those standings. So yeah, it works out quite nicely, because now the team is trying to get points to try and stay on top as possible, and see how many points they can accumulate in those 4 races to see how far they can go up as well.
Okay, to try and maybe get a better car for the next 4 races.
Yes.
And your team
Or even a worse car.
Even your team stays throughout the season. You are with the same person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Our previous season, we actually had guys getting cars according to their personal standings. So if you were on the top of the standings, you got the crappiest car. At the bottom of the standings, you got the best car. But then it worked out that 2 teammates wasn't in the same car, so you would have one teammate in a Williams and one in a Ferrari.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
It did work, but then you'll get that your actual teammate, because he's in a different car, and now another guy that's in the same car as you, now you go to the pit at the same time, then they queue behind each other, so the one can hold up the other one.
Different kind of strategy.
Exactly. So yeah, then it doesn't work out. So that's why we changed it to have the guys get cars according to the team.
The team's standings.
Yes. So yeah, and so far it's worked out brilliantly. The standings is so close to each other that if you get disco taken out in this race, that you'll drop so far down in the points that you might have a Ferrari in the next 4 races, you know. So yeah, it really makes a difference, and the guys are trying their absolute best to get as much points from each race as possible.
Of course. So now not seeing any Ferraris in tonight's race, that means that the 2 teammates that were going to be sporting the Ferrari colors haven't made it tonight?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
We might see a Ferrari, the one guy that struggled to get into the lobby. It showed that he did managed to join the lobby after we started the qualifying. So it might be that he is in a Ferrari, because then
but
the
he'll
game
just be in the last position.
Yeah, but the game will just give him a car. Will give him any random car that's open.
Okay.
So at this stage, there's no Ferrari, so the chances of him getting a Ferrari is high.
It's pretty high. Gotcha.
Yes. You see, now you can actually see who's on different tire strategies. If you look at Whistler now, he's on a soft tire, the red one.
Okay.
Exubia's also on the red tire. And then you look at Nat, that's on a medium tire, the yellow tire.
It's on the yellow. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of them in the yellow tire. And only a couple of guys on the red tire.
On the red. I see.
Yeah, so this is where it becomes interesting to see who's going to try and leap away at the beginning of the race to try and make as much time up as possible. That would be the guys on the red tires. The guys on the yellow tires, the guys that's going long into the race. So they'll be trying to be quick enough to stay with the front 2 or the guys on the red tires to minimize time loss.
Via pits.
Well, not only via pits, during the race as well, because the red tire can be up to a second faster than the yellow tire. But at the end of the race, everyone needs to use both tires.
Okay, alright.
Yes.
But now you said there's 3 sets of tires.
Yeah, they can use any 2 of the 3.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, but they need to use at least 2 of those 3.
2 different sets. And now how many, is there a pit, I can't remember the term, there's an amount of pits that you need to do in a session? Is there the same for this?
Well, okay, so in the race, if it's a rain race, you don't need to pit, because then you can do 1 set of tires. If it can last you the entire race, you can go on the entire race.
Okay.
But with these ones, they don't refuel, they just change tires. So their fuel will last the entire race. But tires, if it's a dry race, they need to use 2 sets of tires, 2 different sets of tires. So they either need to use a soft and a medium, or a soft and a hard, or medium and a hard, or whatever. But they need
Why
to use...
is that? Is that just a rule that they have, or is
yeah,
there a specific science behind it?
Well, it's a rule, and there is science behind it, because that means the guys need to think about their strategy. Because some teams can make the soft tire last longer.
Alright.
So
which
it
makes
would be
them a little bit faster.
It will make them a bit faster in the beginning of the race, for instance. But where other teams would try and go far into the race with the harder compound tire, and then at the end of the race put on the soft tire and go for the fastest lap.
Wow. Alright.
So there's a lot of strategy involved with that, on what tire you can start on. But also on the starting grid, the soft tire pulls a lot faster from the grid than the medium tire.
And do you consider your tires warm from the second qualifying race? Because you said that, so this race that they have to use the same tires when they start off, but they would have cooled down by then.
Yeah, but the tires gets put into hot blankets in the pit.
Okay.
Yeah. So by the time the race starts again, they'll have the tires out of the blankets on the car, and it will be up to temperature. And then they do a formation lap as well, just to make sure that the car is okay and the tires and the brakes is up to temperature, so on. So that helps as well.
So we've seen the guys with 118. So you're still going to say that they're going a little bit slower than you sort of expected?
Well, because they are figuring out on what tire to start the race from. I just want to see, we've got someone going very slow on the start-finish straight. Who that was. Had a yellow flag. Okay, it's gone now. Anyway, so because they're trying to figure out what tire they need to start on, I'm not expecting the quick laps to be shown yet.
Okay.
So the important one where we need to see who's going to start in first position, that is in qualifying 3, where the top 10 will be shooting out for the fastest time. Then everyone will be back on the soft tires again. That is when we are going to see those times coming down drastically.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll probably see a 1 minute 16 in the qualifying.
Now, with your something that you've just said about deciding what tires they're going to go on, so throughout this session they can alternate between the soft, medium and hard if they wanted to.
Yes, they can, but you also need to be very smart about it, because you will start the race on the tire you put the faster, on let me say this again. The fastest lap you put on here, those sets of tires will be used for you to start the race on.
Regardless of what you want, that's going to be the standard.
So the fastest lap, that tire, that will be the tire that you will start the race on. So it's very interesting, or very important for these guys not to wear the tires out after doing one lap. So
and also to, if you set a decent time with your hard set, you better make sure that if you want to run the soft set, that you do another lap or two to try and beat that time. Otherwise, you're going to be starting on the hard.
Exactly. Okay. And now the problem is, because these guys want to go according to the tire they want to start on. Now you're getting guys like Alberts and Economic Berry, that is fast guys. They went out on the medium set of tires, but they are not going to make it through to the final qualifying session, because they are currently 12th and 15th. So you might see them going to the pits, put on the softer tire, and try and beat those times so they can be in the top 10.
Sure.
That is where it becomes interesting, because they want to be on the medium set of tires, but if they don't qualify in the top 10, that strategy doesn't really matter, because outside of the top 10 you can start on any tire that you want. The top 10 guys need to start on the tire that they qualified here with. So far we've got Reefy still with a 1 minute 18. Whistler also 1 minute 18.2. Oh, Farid just went up with the fastest lap. 1 minute 17.8. You see, he's on the soft tire, so he's going to crawl his way back to pit, because he doesn't want to damage those tires any further.
Sure.
Yeah, as you can see, he's just doing 180 k's per hour.
Slowed right down.
He slowed way down. Normally you'll go at about 300.
If you do any damage to those tires now, it obviously affects your startup race.
Yes, because
now they've taken a bit of extra wear that you could have made use.
Yeah. Well, if they had to go flat out now and go back to the pits, that is the extra lap of flat out, and the wear on a flat out lap is enough to make your pit strategy a lap shorter. So where you would have gone into the pits at lap 12, now you need to come into the pits at lap 10 or lap 11.
All right, okay.
Because you broke your tires earlier. Exactly. That's actually the correct word. Warn them out. I've had an interesting day today. Waking up with no electricity
Yeah,
to pack
the
up and
African
go
way.
to work. Oh, that was interesting stuff. Let's see who else is currently. I see Gary is in the pits. See, he just did a lap on his mediums and he's happy. He's not going to worry any further. I see Romano actually went and did a 1 minute 17.4.
Oh yeah, I see that. I see that.
And,
All right.
he left the session. Oh, well, he didn't leave the session, but he retired from the.
Retired. He's happy with that.
Now we've got Economic Berry is trying to improve on his lap time. He's currently up by 0. I think it was 0.01 on his previous lap. So let's see, he needs another 3-4 tenths up to go into 10th place. Let's see what he does. Coming over the line. He did not improve. He actually went slower by 0.085 of a second. Dean is slower by 4 seconds. Who else is still on a lap? I don't think Whistler is going to complete. Yeah, Whistler also backed off his lap.
Yeah, but I mean, understandable on Whistler because
He is in the top
he's
4.
He's not going to lose that position based on the guys that are still on there.
Definitely not. Out on
he's
track
not a
is
top
just
10.
him and his teammates still. The rest is all either retired from the session or they left the session. The Alberts with the Williams that are 1 minute 18.6, which is actually a freaking fast lap for the Williams because that's the slowest car in the game.
Do you ever have the guys moaning or complaining about the vehicles after
Yes.
the session to say, you know, I really didn't enjoy the race with the Williams?
Well, no one has ever enjoyed a race with the Williams because that car is really slow. It's like no one wants to be in the car, but they also know that if they are the fastest or the best team, they will get the car. So they do understand
that's
that.
what happens.
But they have had complaints about the reserve guys joining in and getting faster cars than them. So yeah, it makes it a bit difficult.
Understandable.
Yeah, but it still makes it a bit difficult because now the one thing that you don't want to do is tell the guys an hour before the race, listen here, you guys must change cars and use this car and not that car because now they've practiced for an entire week on that car. Now suddenly an hour before the race, then they change or they need to change to another car because each car needs to be set up differently in a way. So as you can see now, there's top 10, and then you've got 5 guys that has got like a red ring,
outlining.
Yes, around their names. They are the ones that dropped out from the station.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're not going to see them feature in this qualifying lap.
Not in this final qualifying. Final qualifying will just be from position 1 to position 10, and you'll see everyone will be on the red tire, the soft, trying to go all out to get that pole position.
And now this use of this tire doesn't affect
the race,
the starting tire. Okay,
right. The one that they just did now, like where it says Romano, the tire that he used now was a soft. That tire is the tire he's going to use in the race. He will start the race on that. But this qualifying
session
3, the one that's starting now, that is entirely, they are going at it.
Brand new tire.
Brand new, well, it depends on how they worked on their tires. Sometimes you can have 3 brand new sets for this qualifying session. Sometimes you only have 2 brand new sets. So then you'll find the guys going out with the tire that they used in the first qualifying session just to feel the track out again. And then they'll come out, do a second round with brand new set of tires, and then do a third lap with brand new sets of tires. Okay, let's see who's going to go out first. I see guys coming out the pits. We've got a Red Bull there of Reefy. He's out on pit lane now. We've got
Gary's coming out.
Ivan Tamerkurv just coming out now. Sava still in the pits. Gary out of the pits. You see now the guys are starting to line up because now this is a time sensitive thing. and it's 12 minutes, and they all want to try and get 3 laps in. This is going to be interesting. Gary trying to open a gap between himself and the guy behind him, but he also doesn't want to catch up to the guy in front of him. Because if you're too close to the guy in front of him, you tend to oversteer, or actually understeer into the corners, and then what that means is the nose will just keep on going straight because you've got no downforce on the wing. But on the straights, you also want to be close enough that you fall within the car in front of you leaves a space with no air between him and you. It depends on how far back you are from him.
Okay.
So then you can be faster. You can catch the slipstream, as they call it, and gain a couple of k's per hour down the straight. Because then you'll have also no drag. But like I say, if you get too close to the guy in front of you, there's no air on the front wing, and it can't help you slow down, so the car just keeps on going straight forward. Okay, so I'm currently on Gary Braden as he starts his first flying lap. Let's see what he can do.
I'm watching with you.
As you can see, DRS wide open. You were about to say?
The out lap is just the first one to get around the lap, and now
that's when they exit
lap time.
That's when they exit the pits and go around the track, and then if there's nothing standing next to it, then it means they're on the fast lap. Gary Braden just went purple in the first sector. Bring up.
Oh yes, I don't have those up yet either.
Yeah, you need to do it after
every race.
Every session, as they call it.
Every session.
Okay. Sector 2, he does another purple sector. And he comes to this third sector, a couple of corners only. 3 corners in total. Final corner, let's see if he can get it perfect.
Oh, a little bit of wobbly at the end.
Bill goes first with a 1 minute 17.1. Arifi with a 1 minute 17.8. Exuber a 1 minute 18.1. Crosses the line. Tamer Curve 18.8. And then we've got Jakes with a 17.6 as he crosses the line. Savas is going to cross the line, and he does. Oh, he only starts his lap now. I'm on board with Savas as he goes through the first corner here.
As he touches the brake, the wing just closing up is quite interesting too. Now that I know visually where to pay attention to, it's quite cool too.
It does make sense now
see
as
it
well.
taking place. Yeah, absolutely.
You could actually see as you went into the second corner there, he actually locked up his left front tire. That will also cost him a bit of time, but he still did a purple first sector. So now we will see what he can do in the second sector, which is a very twisty section. Looking quite smooth through there. Running a bit wide on track on that corner exit. Again with another lockup.
These wouldn't have qualified under the skipping any track because he was still.
If the game thought that he violated the track limit, it would have been a red lap, and then he had to go again. But as you see there, he did an 18.1 that puts him in 6th place. And everyone is going back into pits now. Albert's heading into the pits. Arifi already in the pits. Furi is also going into the pits now. Jakes Romano is coming through the second last corner. He's probably also going to go into the pits now. Yes, he does. We had Whistler going wide. I think Whistler actually underfueled his car, and he might be stuck without petrol. Yes, he is. He's cruising his way back to the pit lane. His maximum speed is 120. That's
Yeah.
that's why how you know that he's run out of fuel. He can't go faster than a certain speed. And if the track has a heavy uphill, it can come to a grinding halt and you have to quit the session.
No ways.
Yes.
And we don't have any idea how much fuel he actually has.
No, we don't. Like I can, when I'm spectating on him with the what do you call it, the telemetry on.
Yeah.
And you can see there's a red fuel indicator on there. That means that he's also out of fuel.
Okay.
If it's flashing, it means he's running light on fuel. But if it's constant showing, it means he's stuck
close to
without.
pushing it
Basically, yes. Okay, so we've got Gary out on track again. This will be his second fast lap. He's doing his out lap now.
Do you think we're going to see any different sort of strategy for him in this lap, or he's just going to do
he's just
the same from last lap? And
yes.
Try to do it
well,
better?
in this session, they put on a different set of tires for each lap.
Wow.
And they're just going to try and go out full out and try and improve on their lap times. Because I can promise you now, he's pushing for a 1:16. Then he'll feel safe about that lap.
He wants a pole position.
Yes, he's starting his fast lap now. Let's see if he can improve on his previous lap.
So he's definitely got enough time to do 2 laps here.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to have a look.
We've got a couple of other guys leaving for their outlaps as well.
The guys leaving now will definitely just do 1 lap still. The guys are still out on track already. Like Gary, he might have a chance to do another lap. It's a possibility, but he's going to have to push his in lap as well, and to make sure he gets back to pit before there's about 2.5 minutes left on the clock. You see, he touched the grass there on the exit. That might cost him a bit of time, but he still went purple with a 0.17 of a second. Let's see, if he can keep that up, he can definitely go into the 1:16s. He will definitely love that if he can. Coming out the exit of the final corner. And he does a 1:16.969. That's exactly what he wanted to do. I'm on board with Romano as he starts his flying lap now. Coming through the second corner here. This next corner, if you're also on Romano, this one here, they can take it flat out.
But
it's very difficult corner.
okay.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult corner. Because if you take too much curb, you can lose the back end. If you take it wrong, then you can cut the corner and the lap won't count. So it's a very difficult one. Remington, how you doing, man? Watching the stream while you're doing some work. That's good, man. Sorry that you're missing the race tonight. Remington is actually one of the guys in the Ferrari.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. We've got Romano coming through the final corner here. Where can he go on the grid? He also wants to push for a 1:16. And he does not improve. He's actually slow. I think he
right on the last corner there, he had a bit of a wobbly.
So that is a possibility that he lost completely there and then slowed down.
Yeah.
The Whistler is going a bit faster. He's up by 0.02 of a second. Second sector is slower. 0.5 or 0.47 of a second. Let's see if you can get a bit of that time back in the final sector. To the final corner here.
That was a nice last corner.
You're up half a second. on his final. So that last sector, he really improved on his lap. Exubia here with 1 minute 17. What is he doing? He's winding up to going to the pits. He won't be able to do another lap. Gary is in the pits. He's not coming out to do another lap. Okay, Savas. What is Savas doing? Savas is retiring from the session. Yeah, he's currently second. Romano is not going to improve on his lap. He's slowing down. Let's see what Jakes is doing. Jakes is up on 0.06 of a second. Let's see what he does. Coming through to the very tricky section here. Very fast flowing track here at the back. Hard on the brakes and hard on the throttle. Get through the corners. Running a bit wide. Purple sector 2. What can he do? I didn't see how much he was up on. But let's see. If he can do a 0.7 of a second, that will put him in first place. I don't think he'll be able to grab first, but he can get close. Jakes is a very good driver. And he goes third place.
Nice.
Well done. Purple
He's gonna be
third
happy with
sector. He's definitely. And I mean, he's in a Toro Rosso that is one of the slower cars. Let's see what Alberts goes wide. Tamer Curve is up on his time. What is he going to do in this final corner? Stays. He went up by 0.3 of a second, but he stays in 10th place. With Albert still in 9th. Albert's without fuel. So he's cruising back to the pits now. We're just waiting for him now to cross the line or go into the pits. Remington, I totally understand that. Who wouldn't rather race than work?
You'd rather be doing racing the Ferrari than doing work. Oh,
exactly.
times are tough, eh?
It's very tough. But yeah, unfortunately, sometimes when work calls, you need to jump as high as possible.
IRL stuff in real life.
Unfortunately.
It's just, yeah. Like you were saying earlier, you know, you almost didn't have power for the session tonight, so these things do happen.
Okay, so now these guys are going to take a quick break. Some of those want to fill their lungs with very expensive cigarettes. Dude, I don't know if you've been watching this, but have you seen how expensive cigarettes got?
Well, I mean, I've seen people joking about it, but I haven't actually, because I don't smoke. I don't have neither of my family members smoke either. So
well, we don't also smoke, but I've with all the WhatsApp groups, I've been seeing this trend going. So normally you'll get your, I think they call it premium cigarettes, like Camels and all those fancy names. Normally they'll go for about between 700, 800 and a carton on a normal month. I'm assuming this. I think so. The last time I heard it was between those figures. But if you want to buy a carton of Camels now, it will cost you between 1,300 and 1,500 and for one carton.
No way,
Then you would get your very cheap cigarettes. They call them RG. I'm gonna tell you now. Yes. Okay, so we've got Gary beating the 1 minute 17 mark there, and Savas Grease almost getting close to him. Well, he did actually get very close to that.
Pretty close.
And then Jake's in third place with it was 0.3 of a second off of that time. So we're going to see some interesting racing, especially between Gary and Savas. Both of them is very good drivers. One in a Merc, one in a racing point. It's going to be very close. The guys, like I said, the guys are going to take a break now just to fill their lungs. Okay, so to get back to how much RGs now. back when I was still living in the Val, a carton of RGs. That is for 10
Wow.
packets of cigarettes.
Okay.
95 rand. That was pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So nowadays that has gone up 300, and I think between 295 and 350 for a card. Nowadays, I make myself sound very old.
You sound so old. Yeah.
Now those cigarettes, that carton of RGs is now selling for 750.
No way.
One
The people who
loose
smoke those
packet.
must hate themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One packet of those cigarettes. Huh? Those cheap ones, 65 rand to 70 rand for a packet.
No ways.
Now, normally your Camels per packet, I think it's 28 to 35 rand a packet. If it's not locked down. So imagine paying double that for
Double
the
that.
cheapest cigarette.
For the oh no.
How much are you gonna pay for a packet of
Of
Camels?
Oh, Camels. Over $100 just for a pack.
Dude, it's crazy stuff. And then you look at the liquor as well. A bottle of brandy, well, it depends on what you're drinking, but a bottle of Richelieu is normally about 140 rand. In the bottle store.
Yeah.
One bottle, 750 milliliters, is going for 460 rand now.
Yes.
It's
I don't know why you're laughing so hard at us, man.
Dude,
People are sad
it
about
is-
this.
I'm laughing at the situation, dude. It's
Yeah, it's insane.
oh man, if you
Literally
love your
crazy.
drinking, you have a bit of a problem now.
You've got If you had a
Yeah.
problem before, you got a
A huge problem now. Exactly.
Shame, man. Yeah, no, it's really hectic. It's really, really crazy.
Well, there's still people drink normally.
Sure.
Every weekend.
Yeah.
So
and
how
in a
they
bright
afford
place.
it? Well, I've done the braaiing, but I don't have that much alcohol to braai every day.
Yeah. No, I get you.
It's getting tough out. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. What can we say? It's one of those things.
Just gotta
Yes,
laugh it off, man. As
Yeah,
we
that's
do
all
best.
I'm gonna do. It doesn't bother me. Doesn't
Yeah,
affect
likewise.
me.
Mm. Yeah, it doesn't make much difference to me either.
It makes a difference for the. For me, I really
Shame.
think
Yeah.
you should actually just allow the guys to buy.
Yeah, it's nicotine is an addiction, and it's if it's legal to usually consume that.
The thing is, I think the people that
It's a
made
bit
that
difficult.
decision of banning cigarettes
Mm.
is guys that's never smoked or they've never tried
Sure.
quitting.
Yeah,
There's a
Yeah, it's
huge
just-
difference in the two or in the three different types of. And if you are forced to try and quit now, it will make you a very nasty person.
yeah,
It's just facts. That's how it is. Try and quit an addiction, it does rub off. Become an evil person towards the people around you, especially the loved ones.
yeah. Until you can curb the addiction completely, it's
Yeah, and
it's
it
gonna
takes
affect
time.
your mood.
And it's not a decision that you need to be forced to make. That's why I say
Sure.
I think the back the smell of cigarettes.
Mm.
You can also understand why they stopped the selling of cigarettes, because the people do share,
Sure.
and over South Africa, it's take out one cigarette.
Mm.
There's not stopping that, and to stop the virus, you understand why they are banning the cigarette. But I think the logic,
It's a bit flawed.
yeah,
Remington's just put there. That's why him and his lady have decided to stop the smoking habit. No better time to quit than now when you're paying
yeah. Well,
as much for the RGs that would you usually pay for your camels.
Well, I was busy reading it as you said it. But yeah, no, Remington, like I said, it all depends on the mindset. Are you ready to quit, or are you being... There's a very big difference in that, my personal opinion. And if your mindset is correct to quit, then yes, like I said, there's no better time like right now, because you can't go buy cigarettes, and then you can't have the temptation of having cigarettes with you. So yeah, it does make a difference.
So coming back to the race, is it Bearded Llama RSA who's joined the race? Because I don't recall reading that.
Yes,
name
he
earlier.
actually did join the race.
And ex-Cuba?
Cubia, he was there.
Cubia was in. Okay.
I'm looking for one of the guys that was struggling to join was Raikusa. At Bearded Llama, he is normally in a Ferrari, so let's see if the game gives him a Ferrari.
How much time do we have until the next race?
Well, I'm busy asking the guys now if they're ready.
I just want to go and get some more water. I'll be right back.
All good. Enjoy. Okay, I'm giving Ivan the instruction, or timer curve the instruction to ready up now. And he's readied up, so we've got 25 seconds for the race to start. Let's see. You see, Remington, like you say, you were thinking of it for in 2 weeks now of not smoking. Okay, so you guys have quit. That's better, dude. That's much better. So it's a decision that you guys weren't forced to make in a way, but it's something that you guys were thinking of, and it's just taking the steps now to do it, because you don't have the temptation of being able to buy cigarettes and stuff. Definitely makes sense. Okay, so these guys are busy with their warm-up lap, and Gary is not waiting around. He's going at it. He wants his tires to be as hot as possible. Brake temperature to be as hot. I think Gary and Savas has got a 1.2-second gap. Savas should actually close. Oh! What happened to Savas? Just went backwards now. And that's on the warm-up lap. It's going to be interesting, this race. But Jake's now cruising around behind Gary. We line up on the grid again. We're waiting for my co-commentator to get back from his drinking expedition. He went to grab a bit of water there to drink. I hope it's water and not vodka. We'll have a listen to him once he's back. Make sure it wasn't vodka.
At the prices of brandy, I don't think I would ever even consider trying to find some vodka in this state of affairs.
That is true. Eh? Oh, I know.
So what have I missed? What's happened?
Well, so far, it's not the first lap. This is just the warm-up lap. So as you see, they will line up on the grid now.
I see.
Yes. And then the 5 lights will go on, one by one. And then as soon as they all go off at the same time, the race starts.
Now, are the guys lining up themselves, or is this
no
an AI generated
So
thing?
what happens is, when the formation lap starts, they have control over the car up until normally the second last corner. Okay, so I'm on board with Savas.
Right, I'll be on board with the same. See the difference in the tires? Oh, half the guys doing red, half yellow.
Exactly. So, and you can see the guys on the red tires. Oh, and we've got someone going straight on the first corner. Let's hope there's no DNFs, because if there's a DNF, then we might have to think of restarting the lobby. So far, everyone is still going at it.
Ouch.
That was a very late break from whoever that was in the Alpha. I believe it could have been Dean. Could also have been a Whistler, so we'll have a look into that. And we have someone not going backwards. It looks like he's got damage on his front wing. No, he doesn't. Just going very slow for some reason. And someone else cutting the corner there.
This is a very different set of guys going into this race than what we saw during
in the qualifying. Because the guys are now one on top of the other, it makes it very difficult for them. You'll see once they start spreading out, you'll see the guys getting back to normal again, and then the normal lap times will come through. But so far we've still got Gary Braden leading this race, with Savas in second place. Gary Braden with a 1:27 opening lap, and someone with a Red Bull going very wide at the back there. It was Romanu. Okay, so now you'll see there's an interval time. Now that time is how far they are behind the guy in front of them.
Alright, okay.
Yes, so what you need to check for is if the guy is less than a second behind the guy in front of him, that means from the next lap they'll have DRS, and that's when the overtaking is going to start taking place.
We hope.
Yeah, well, that's what we hope for. We've got Albert in 11th place. He is 0.4 seconds behind Economic Berry at this stage. And then we've got Free that is 0.3 of a second behind Jakes. You can even change the camera type if you press your right bumper button, then you can go on board with him.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot about that. I was looking for which button changes the camera and I forgot about it.
Press the big middle button. The big shiny one in the middle.
Okay, I see the chat is just blown up here.
Don't you worry, I'm on it.
I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Darth
Hughes.
Hughes, okay. And I'm getting it right. Thanks
He's a
for
German
joining.
sports fanatic. He enjoys a little bit of basketball, I've been told.
Okay,
and
awesome.
some other sports. So I see he did put in there
I
Go
see.
Red Bull.
Sweet. He's also asking, is this a ZA contest? Yes, it is a South African league. These guys are racing for points. So far, very interesting. Gary Braden winning the previous race, and he's already leading this one as well. But he's not breaking Savas. I'm gonna throw it all out there, and I'm gonna say Savas for the win here.
Wow, okay.
He looks fast. He looks like he is.
Do you want to talk about how much money he gave you to say that, or you don't want to disclose those details?
Well, you know what? Savas is actually not speaking to me, but
Okay.
we had an incident the previous race between him and me.
You drove
And
into him.
well, let me say this: we've got Rifi now with the fastest lap of 1:22.9. But let me say this, that two different people have got two different views on an incident.
Okay.
So, on my screen, it will look.
You see what you see.
It will look like what I see, and on his screen it will look like what he sees.
Sure.
But with online gaming, you always have to consider or take in consideration if Dean got a 3-second penalty for corner cutting.
Ouch.
It does show it for us at the bottom there from race control. Okay. Oh, Albert's
retiring from the race.
I'm not sure if he crashed out or what exactly happened there. But I'm going to try and jump on board and see who is the closest behind the guy in front of them. Oh, we've got Zunaid going very slowly. I wonder if Zunaid and Alberts didn't have a get-together there. I'm going to jump on board.
Still been a bit of damage from earlier. That's now shown its nasty face.
It could be. It's a possibility. I'm going to jump on board with Whistler. He is catching up to the back of Rifi. Yeah, that is currently in third place. Exterior, 5-second penalty for a collision with the economic berry. Tamer curve, drive-through penalties, speeding under virtual safety car. I didn't even know there was a safety car involved there, or a virtual safety car. Wow. Boosted saying couldn't make it. Oh man, that is unfortunate.
He's sad. He added me on Twitter saying he was excited.
Yes.
He's going to be casting. He told me I better look out for the guy in the back, and I've been looking. I thought maybe he was,
and he wasn't
rolling
there.
under a different name. Yeah. I don't know.
Boosted, his name is also Boosted ZA on Xbox, and now Rifi with the 3-second time penalty. So you see now how those time penalties is coming in thick and fast. You can't even actually see who's got penalties now.
But what I'm quite interested in is how early on that the guys are getting penalised. You know, we've just been through 3 qualifying sessions where they should be sort of ironing out those sort of
so
issues or not.
So the one big thing that also happens is you'll see like the fastest lap currently. You can actually put that on. Fastest lap as the fastest. Okay, fastest lap. Rifi with a 1 minute 22.9. So this is already the 6th lap, and the fastest lap so far is only a 1 minute
1.22.
So,
Ranging on the 1.23.
So the big thing about the race from the qualifying session is the car is now filled up with fuel. So this can mean between 100 and 110 kilograms of fuel. Whereas in qualifying, they will have only like 6 kilograms of fuel. So the car handles completely different to what it did in qualifying. Did I lose you there, Theed?
No, I'm trying to process what you've said, and I don't understand it, so I don't even know how to really ask any questions. I was waiting for one to come to mind, didn't, so I just
okay.
This is the strategy I was going with.
Because the car is heavier, it's got 100 kilograms of fuel in now to last them 70 laps.
Okay.
So the car is handling different because with the fuel on board, if you move to one side, the fuel moves with you. So the car is moving more under braking and into corners because you've got that extra load of fuel that you're carrying with you. So when you have no fuel in the car, like 6 kilograms, you don't feel it in the car. So the car reacts to how you are driving it.
And you're saying that that's in comparison to the amount of fuel they had during the qualifying laps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in qualifying they would have had
driving as much.
Because in qualifying they would have only had 6 kilograms of fuel. Some of them would push it to 4 kilograms of fuel. So
that
now you added another 96 kilograms of fuel onto the car.
It's going to make a massive difference.
It makes a huge difference. That's also why they are slower by almost 3 or up to 6 seconds slower.
6 seconds, yeah. Yeah, you look at Gary's time.
Yes, so
that's a 7 second.
I think they also said per 10 kilograms of fuel, it's almost a second lap or half a second lap, something like that. So you added 90 kilograms of fuel, so that makes a huge difference on your lap.
But now, where do they store the fuel? Is it obviously different per team build on the vehicles, or is there a centralized place that they sort of will keep the fuel? Because you said as they're turning the corner, it's obviously shifting to a different side.
Well, that is actually a good question. I've actually never thought about where they have the fuel tanks. Normally it will be behind the driver. Well, because the engine is basically also right behind the driver. So yeah, this is actually a very good question. I'll have to find that out if all
investigate.
The teams yeah, because you don't know, because every car is built differently. They try and place things at different places in the car to make the car more aerodynamic and faster.
Different performance. Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, it can make a difference on where you put the fuel tank. So
I would think so.
I'll definitely find out if they actually have, if they actually have different places where they put the fuel tank. That's actually a very good question.
Yes. 10 points, dude.
Exactly.
Darth Hughes was asking what happened to the ORLSA guy. We don't actually know what happened to Alberts at this time. Have you found anything out?
I haven't seen anything on the WhatsApp group yet. And we've got another retirement from the game, and that is Exubia. He was doing actually good in the qualifying, and to have him lose out in the race, that is unfortunate.
Those wouldn't be potential DCs.
No, if a guy disconnects from Formula 1, they get the opportunity to get back. So they've got like an AI driver taking over from them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes.
And Darth has put something in the chat. Do you mind if I read it to you quickly?
Yes.
So he said the small fuel tank is located to the right, below the rollover hoop. In 2009, the cars had a fuel tank of a capacity of approximately 90 to 100 litres, as you were saying now about the 90 litres extra. Cars started the race with about 60 kgs of fuel on board, resulting in a car that weighed 655 kilos.
Ah. Interesting fact. So that was back in 2009. Like I said, I think that there was a couple of things that changed. I think if you are in the settings now in the race, you don't put in per litre, you put in per kilogram of fuel. Okay. So yeah, and I'm sure I saw up to 110 kilograms that you can fill up the car with. And sure. Darth, he just said he just Googled it. Thanks for that, man. That's good information. That's very good information, that. Okay, I was going to quickly see, we've got Rifi half a second behind Savas. The top three guys are actually within a second from each other.
They're tight, eh? They're really tight.
That is
They're still holding
tight.
that first position.
And we've got a yellow flag. We've got a yellow flag in the third sector, and we've got a McLaren actually going very slow. Is that Exubia that retired from the session? It looks like his car is still driving around. But that's definitely not a disconnection. I think he left the session and quit entirely from the session. Because if it was a disconnection, he would his car would have still been in position on the track, but just driving very slow. Okay, so I'm going to jump on board with this first three guys. I'm on board with Sava, so I'm going to wait for an overtake here, because now we've got a yellow flag in second. I wonder if the game didn't glitch now with Exubia, because this is now making it very difficult for the guys to overtake. And it looks like we're going to have Rifi try and go for an overtake on Savas. He will be in DRS zone. So you'll see now as they come to the first main straight here, Savas will have DRS open, as well will Rifi, because they're all within a second off of each other. Just the guy in first that will not have DRS open.
DRS. Let me ask as well now here, is Rifi benefiting from a slipstream from both vehicles, or is it just from Savas at this moment? Because Savas is also benefiting from Gary?
No, the Rifi does get a benefit from both cars now, because the front car already creates a gap, or what they call a tunnel of no air, and now the second car is breaking even more air for the third car. So the third car does gain, but I don't think the straight is long enough to actually show how much they gain. if you get to a track like the Mexico track that has a very long straight, I think it's almost the longest straight. No, it's probably the second longest straight on the Formula One calendar. And if you are in the third placed car, the amount of boost you get from that, the amount of top speed you get, is incredible. You can even hit the limiter of the car at 350 k's per hour. Yes.
Yeah, someone's been real going at.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a move coming up from Rifi on.
Savas is playing it defensive.
Oh, Savas going for the inside line. Rifi trying to go out wide, locking up the inside tyre. Still managing to stay behind Savas. Can he go for the overtake? The thing is, this is what Gary wants, is these two guys to battle it out so he can create a gap. Because as soon as you have two guys concentrating on a battle, they're not concentrating on their lines and where they need to race, they start losing time. And that is exactly what Gary wants at this stage, is for these two to battle it out so he can make a gap. Yes.
Hypothetically speaking, if Gary were to pull up in the person in last position to maybe do a lap, what's it? It's a lapper person. Would he get DRS in the DRS sections?
Yes, he will. If he is within 1 second of him, he will get the DRS. But the guy in front of him will also get a blue flag, meaning he needs to get out of the way. There's leaders coming through. And if he ignores 3 of those flags, he will get a penalty.
Okay.
I'm going to jump on board with Rifi here as they go to the main straight again. Both got DRS. Rifi forgot to actually activate his DRS, so he's very late on the DRS. You can see on the bottom right corner of that information where it shows the speed and so on, there is a thing called DRS, or there's a bracket on the end. So if he's close enough to use DRS, that thing will start filling up with orange, and as soon as he hits the marker where he can open the DRS, if he opens it, it will go into green. So keep an eye on that on the main straights again. You'll see the orange bar filling up and then changing to green as they open it.
It's quite interesting because I'm noticing the sound cue of the DRS being active, because I mean I have played a little bit of this, so I hear it before I notice, before I see it, and by the time I realize to look, the section's already over.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference.
Darth has asked if do you know if they're using steering wheels or controller? Is there a way for us to see from this perspective?
No. Well, in a way you can. Let's see. I know. Let's see. Controller here. Okay. I know Savas is on a wheel, so I'm gonna, as I am on board here with Savas, look at the steering movement. You will see it's a smooth steering going from left to right and right to left again. And that means that he is on a steering wheel. The smoothness of how he's operating and going through the corners. So now I'm going to jump on board with Tamer Curve. Tamer Curve is on controller. So as he's exiting the corners, you'll see he's tapping his analog sticks. And you can see that on the steering wheel, because you can see the steering wheel being tapped left to right. I'm not sure if you're also checking the same thing.
I was, yes.
So if you can, could you see the difference in being on a controller and being on a wheel?
Now that you've described it, it's very difficult to notice that without having been told it. But you can see how jittery it is.
Yes.
In comparison to.
You can definitely see how a Tamer Curve is tapping the controller. especially after corners, just to make sure the car's going where he wants it to go.
Directing it,
Yes.
making sure he's not getting a spin out.
But if you jump on board with Savas, I know for a fact is on a wheel. You can actually see how smooth it is through
and
the
how
corners.
he's fighting it,
Yes.
sort of the vibration and the feedback, you can see that as he's coming out of the corner, he's actually holding onto his steering wheel and sort of fighting it
Yes.
back into the position that he wants it to
Gary is also on steering wheel. You can also look on his how smooth it is going through the corners and exiting the corners. Unless he
And
is
I've
driving
heard-
like an idiot, which I doubt it. But yeah, that is one way of looking at it. So I can go through and tell you guys who I know who is definitely on a wheel.
Savas
Gary,
went wide there.
Savas went very wide. That's going to open the gap for Reefy to try and come through. But Savas didn't lose any time. So, like I said, I know Gary, Savas, Notnat, Whistler, Economic Berry, Dean, Romano, Danadu is definitely on the wheel. Reefy,
And I've heard a lot of
I have
people
got
say
no idea.
that the guys that are on a wheel, if they're any good with the wheel, they are a lot better than a controller player.
Okay, so
Is
it
that-
also depends on tracks, because Jakes is a controller driver. But Jakes is extremely fast. I don't know how he does it, but he manages to get the controller working for him, and he does very good laps. He won our previous league actually, and he's on controller. But for me, the difference where I really see it is on the tracks. So some tracks, the controller can be faster, depending on how much movement you have between the corners. Like with the chicanes, you can be fast with the controller because it's not that much movement. But as soon as you get to a track like USA that has got a very tricky first section, because it's going left, right, left, right, the entire first section without any straights. The movement you have on the controller there is very limited to what you have on the steering wheel. The guys on the steering wheel will be faster.
I see there, Zune just pulled over because he obviously got the blue flag warning.
Yes, and he's a lap down.
Let Gary, Savas and Reefy.
Savas going for the inside. Can he make... Oh, can't make the move stick. Oh,
It
can't
almost looked as if he was dummy. He was trying to pull Gary out of position there, going into the corner.
Actually, that's the one thing that guys also do is they'll... the guy behind will try and go and make it look like he's going to go for the inside move, forcing the guy in front to cover up that move and be defensive, which is going to mean he's going to be slower out of the corner.
Yeah.
Then the guy in second place returns to his normal position without the guy in front actually looking at it, and then have a faster exit out of the corner. Then you'll have an overtake run like that. So there's a lot of good thing. Yes, Darth, we are on Xbox, and thanks, man. I really appreciate that. No, unfortunately, F1 is not cross-platform. I hope with at least with 2021, I hope that one will be cross-plat. I think most games are moving into that direction, and they are showing that it can be done. Everyone is hoping for Assetto Corsa that's coming out in next month. Everyone is hoping that game will be cross-platform. That's another game that I'm very excited for the Xbox.
That's
It'll
just
be
launched on
fantastic.
Xbox, isn't it?
No,
I thought it was out already.
the old one is out, but not the. I think it's called Competizone or something like
Yes.
that. That one is not out on the Xboxes yet. It's releasing the 23rd of June. I can't wait for that game. That game apparently is actually for steering wheel drivers. Whereas
I can hear a G-Max shouting in the distance.
some races actually with their reefs.
All of him. Yeah.
He is actually one of them racing on Assetto Corsa. So I'm excited for that game. I can't wait for it. But apparently there is some enhancement made for the guys on controllers. So we'll see if they bring that over to the Xbox or the consoles as well. I'm on board still with Savas here as we go into the start-finish straight.
I'm sitting with Reefy here, watching the battle from a bit of a distance. It's really interesting.
Okay, Savas going for the inside. Oh, not making it stick. Reefy also trying for it. You see now, Savas actually compromised his exit from the first corner. And I'm surprised that Reefy wasn't closer to actually try and go for attack in the second corner. Now the difference is going to come and see who's going to pit where and how they're going to pit. Free now with the fastest lap, 1 minute 22.
It's quite interesting how the rest of the field is very saturated. The guys aren't really close to each other, so I mean, it's these top three guys that are really battling out. The rest of the guys are just sort of having a nice race.
Don't let go of Jakes as yet. Jakes is only 13 seconds behind. If these guys at the front start battling out even more, then they're going to start losing time against Jakes. So that can work in Jakes. Oh, and we've got a yellow flag. We've got Stanton out of the race. He lost it in the middle of the track. Oh my word. Is it going to bring out the safety car? Yes, safety car's out. Now see, this is what Jakes wants. You see, top three, all of them into the pits straight away, changing tires. What is Jakes going to do? Jakes also into the pits, changing tires. You see, now this is where it gets interesting, because now the whole field is going to be bunched up together again, stuck behind the safety car. Oh, Reefy has gotten past Savas for second place in the pit stop. So the Red Bull team really going at it in the pits to make sure they get the best pit stop as possible. Gary is still the leader of the race. Now this is going to be interesting. It's about 3 laps worth of safety car.
And now I see Reefy's changed down to the red, and Savas has gone over to the yellow. So that's what you were talking about earlier, is the guys making use of the red tires early on or later on. And now Reefy's going to get the benefit of the extra speed.
What Reefy is going to try and do, so now we are on the 20th lap, so this means these guys all need to make another pit stop. Okay, because Gary and Savas went on the same tire. They went on the first stint, which is the yellow wall tire. So they're going to have to pit towards the end of the race again to switch over to the red wall tires, because they have to use a different set now as well. Reefy could go to the end of the race if he wants to, but these tires will never make it. I think these tires will probably make 20 laps max. Okay. Then he's going to go out on the yellow tire. So at the end of the race, you're going to see these 3 guys being on 2 different sets of tires. Reefy is going to, after the safety car pulls in now, Reefy is going to be on the move, and he's probably going to take first place from Gary, and then start opening up a gap between himself and Gary. But then he needs to pit a lot earlier than Gary and Savas. Savas and Gary could probably go to around lap 50 from here, easily. Whereas
on their set of tires.
On the set of tires they've got on now, and Reefy will probably go to lap 20. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens after the safety car comes out.
And now, how long is the safety car going to be? Is it only a lap, or is it until the accident gets cleared?
Well, the accident's already cleared, but what they do is normally the safety car is between 3 and 4 laps. They're just waiting for the entire grid to bunch up again. Then they will let it go. But with Theed being so far back, he'll probably go in within the next lap.
So why is it that they wait for them to bunch up? I don't understand the...
Well, the safety car is there to protect everyone. Well, in real life, it's there to protect whoever's removing the car from the track.
Okay.
So normally it takes up to, depending on the issue, but in real life they have about 4, 5, 6 laps of safety car. Now that brings the whole field closer to each other. But in the game, they know there's no real life things, so they will just wait for the guys to bunch up, and then the safety car will go in.
They're sort of emulating the experience.
Yes.
So here, are the guys driving their cars, or are they being operated by AI?
No. They are driving the cars. So it's very difficult. Normally you're going through these corners at 190, 200 k's per hour. Now suddenly you have to slow down to what the safety car is doing. So these guys racing behind each other, they're not used to going at these low speeds. So, how can I say this? If the guy in front of you brakes a bit earlier and you don't expect it, you can run into the back of him and damage your car. Then you have to go back into the pits to fix the car. Then you lose more time because you just did a pit stop and now you're going to do another pit stop.
But now, so this is obviously also wearing and tearing on your tires that you're currently using. But
it does, but it's very low.
Ticking over.
Yeah, the laps are ticking over, and the tire wear is very low. And you'll see everyone will have their fuel usage on very low, and also their ERS usage on very low. So ERS is an energy system that the cars have installed that gives them a bit of extra boost during the lap. So I'm on board now with Rifi. You'll see there is a yellow 100% on his dashboard, basically. So that is the energy usage. That's how much he has available to use. And then he's got 5 different settings he can put it on. Now currently it's on no ERS usage. That's why you'll see there's like a lightning bolt with a 0 next to it.
Yeah.
So if he puts that on 5, he will have maximum use of the ERS. He will get up to almost a second a lap extra by putting it on 5. Safety car is coming in now. He's just put it on 5 because safety car is coming in. So he's going to try and go flat out now to try and stay with Gary as the safety car goes in. I'm going to jump on board with him.
So now, Gary, so during the safety car laps, no one's allowed to change position. If you go past someone, do you have to go back into your position?
Yes. Okay, you see now, he's trying to use as much of that ERS as possible. It's already down to 84%. As you brake, you gain a bit of that percentage back.
And that's something you have to manually toggle?
Yes. Well, you have a setting where you can have it as automatic, but then the game keeps it on. Well, you don't lose control, but you don't have the maximum availability of usage because the game basically puts it on medium the entire race.
Okay.
Whereas on the straights, exiting the corners, especially on the long straights, you need to be on 5 to maximize the amount of power you get out of the corner, so that the guy behind you don't pass you. In the middle of the corner, I will normally have it on 0 because you don't need to use the energy going through the corner. But the exit of the corner, as soon as you go full throttle, you need to be as high as possible. And if that bar runs out, then you need to go to a lower setting so that bar can fill up again.
Can recharge. Okay.
Yes. See, like now he's on 0, and as he goes to the straight, he's still staying on 0. Well, he's on 4 now. He gets more power coming out of the corner, and he did a fastest lap, 1 minute 21.8. And he's going to go for the overtake. And he goes through and takes the lead from the race.
He's got it. And this is what you predicted. Did you think it was going to take this many laps?
I mean, it was the safety car that was the first lap, actually, after the change of tyres, because we just went straight into the safety car.
Well, yes, normally for the first lap after the safety car goes in, it's very difficult because the guy in front is actually in charge of the pace that has been set.
Pace.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to always stick on him and go for the overtake on the first corner again. But there is guys that can get it right and stick on you as you start the race again, and they can go for the overtake. But normally the second lap around, if you're on different set of tyres, like I say, the red wall tyre is about a second a lap faster than the yellow wall tyre.
I see a lot of guys struggling with that corner. Like you said, they can do it really fast if they want to. If they don't do it right,
yes.
Coming out of the corner,
Okay, so I've been told here by Booster that Jakes actually overtook Fourie as well. I think Jakes was actually in 4th place before the safety car. I don't know if it was changed in the pits. Did Fourie actually pit, or did he stay out still? You see now, Savas is second behind Gary, and Gary is now 1.2 seconds behind Arifi at this stage. Arifi is trying to increase the gap now. So by the time he goes into the pits, he's got a bit of a buffer. We've got Economic Berry not too far behind Romano. And we've got Bearded Llama also within striking distance. These guys are 0.7, 0.8 from each other. Sorry, you were busy saying?
That's all good. I was going to say, if you want to talk about experience of the guys that are on the track, what sort of how far back are we going in the F1 games that you would consider that they've been playing for? Because obviously the faster guys have been playing for a longer period of time, I would think, to understand the dynamics and especially the courses as well.
Okay, well, one thing is I can tell you that all of these guys have been following Formula One for at least 10 to 15 years. But in the games, it's a bit difficult to say if they are a real big fan of the game. They would have bought it everyone since, I think, 2009. I think was the first big one that came out since 2000 basically. So there was a couple of years that there wasn't the Formula One game. I think the first one they made was either 2009 or 2011. I'm not entirely sure, but most of them would have started collecting the games from 2009 or when the first one came out. But like I said, it was either 2009 or 2011. I'm not sure about that one.
And that's still in the 10 to 15 years bracket. So like you said, if they really were big fans, more than likely the majority of these guys would have been playing that game or those games.
But now the thing is, it also comes down to how much practice time they put.
Sure.
Like these guys, you'll find that the only game that they play, or they've got probably 2 or 3 games that they play, and the main one they keep on playing is Formula One, and that's why they're so good at it.
I heard a rumor that I've just made up about Jakes that apparently plays a lot of Rocket League, and that's why he's good with the controller and F1.
I've got no idea if Jakes actually plays Rocket League, but it's a possibility. But like I said, these guys, if you find them online, let's say 80% of the time, they will be on Formula One.
Yeah.
Then you get guys like me that loves playing a whole different set of games. From Forza, Formula One, FIFA,
Project Cars.
I can play any game, but I'm not good at all of them, but I can play all of them.
I do recall someone being ridiculously good at Human Fall Flat once upon a time. Yeah, we still need to talk about that, but it's okay.
That was the first time I played it, but it was funny. It was one of the best games
it's still a bit sensitive.
that I actually played. That's a good memory. That was awesome.
It was a good time. That was a great time. Arifi's really pulled in front. He's really pulled in front now.
Yeah, he's 2 seconds in lead now.
see Savas and Gary battling it out now. What you were telling me about Gary earlier, Reefy's now, he's benefiting from what Gary was trying to do earlier and get the second and third position to battle it out. While first is sort of slowly but surely pulls
I
away
won't
from
say
the
the second and third is battling it out. I think for now they're just trying to stay with each other, trying to make sure that Reefy doesn't increase his lead as much as possible, because now the thing with Reefy is his tire life, like I said, is probably 20 laps. That's how long he can push his tires, but the harder he pushes his tires, the less grip he's starting to get towards the end of those 20 laps. So if he's pushing too hard, he will start losing grip around 10 laps into the sprint. Then the guys with the harder tires will start catching up to him again, like what is happening now. You can see the gap is coming down to 1.6 now already. So this probably says that Reefy went and he already killed his tires in the first 8 laps.
pushed it a bit too hard.
Exactly. Or he is preserving fuel. It's another possibility. So there's a couple of factors to play here. So we can't just look at him and say that he's overheated the tires and he's starting to lose grip. He could be like he's on 0 on his ERS. He's now up to 10, but most of the lap he's on 0. So that also makes a difference in your lap times as well.
His best play right now is to be just past the second difference from Gary, so that he doesn't get that DRS, but hopes that Savas still gets it.
Well, that's what he wants, but the Savas is also not within DRS from Gary. But what Reefy actually needs now is to build a gap of about 10 seconds.
Wow.
To have that advantage.
Sure.
At this stage, he's not doing it. He got to 2 seconds very fast, but now he's not increasing the gap, which tells me that he's overworked the tires.
Okay.
See, now that gap is staying at still 2 seconds. Trying to see if there's another battle. We've got Bearded Llama still behind Romano within 1 second. They're actually 0.8 of a second. They're all following ORLSA Dean. I see Darth saying he has to restart his PC and then someone overtakes.
And then there was an overtake.
Oh, my man. This is a very difficult track for overtaking as well. But yeah, there will be some overtaking done. You see, I'm currently spectating on Bearded Llama. So if you look at his ERS, he's using the setting number 5, and it's on 4%. Which means he needs to go to 0 to start increasing that again, because he's using too much of it.
Is there an opportunity, or is there potential of him burning out his engine, or when it's got 0%, it can't use that?
Well, I've never seen it happen, but there is a possibility of impeding your ERS usage, then you can damage the batteries and then you don't have use of them. But I've never seen it happen. I've been told there is a possibility, but I've never seen it. Because these guys are very close to each other. It's a 0.6 of a second, 0.7, all the way from 7th place up until 10th. These guys are racing very close to each other. So who's going to make a mistake? And that's going to be the overtake. You see now, Gary is within striking distance of Reefy again. You see now, this is exactly what I said about the tires.
Wow.
He burned out the tires and now he doesn't have that much grip anymore. And that's why Gary is catching up to the back of him again.
Yeah, it's less than a second.
Yes, he's within DRS range now. And then you've got that huge battle in the midfield, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, all very close to each other. Romano with another 3 seconds. Oh, Romano losing it! Into the wall and out of the race is Romano.
Oh no.
I caught that on this stream here. As he lost it, he went for the, and that's probably gonna, okay, it's a virtual safety car now. Let's see if it's gonna change to safety car again.
Oh, ouch. I was just sitting with Zune just to see when we go past them.
You wouldn't have seen it, but it's on the.
No, it was on the side.
It's on that fast corner that I said you can either take it flat out and risk. I think Romano is actually on a wheel. The last time I heard he was racing on a wheel. So we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys out of the race. So last week in Hockenheim, we actually had very first for ORLSA, where you see Dean into the pits now trying to... Oh, and another drive-through penalty for Tamer Curve here, but virtual safety car is over now. The guys are back racing again. Gonna see what's happening. See Gary within 0.3 of a second. These guys are going at it again. Very close for them. I was busy saying, okay, so last week we had a very first. We had 20 drivers on the grid.
Yeah.
For the first time for a full race, we had 20 guys starting. We went to, I think it was lap 50. It could have been lap 40 something, but without anyone retiring from the race. That was the very first.
Wow.
It was like almost 50. I think it was almost close to 50 or just over 50 laps without anyone retiring from the race, and then there was a big crash and someone retired. But yeah, that was a very good race where guys were very close to each other.
That's cool. That's nice, and it's actually quite rewarding to be racing like that, I think.
Yes, especially if you can race close to each other.
Yeah,
makes it worth the while.
You're getting a lot of experience because you're being challenged on a different level where you're managing your throttle based on the guy behind you and in front of you.
Exactly.
Rather than just focusing on your own race.
I believe Exubia, from the guys that retired now, Exubia is probably the only one that's racing on controller. The rest of them, I know Notnat and Albert is definitely on a wheel. Romano, I believe he's on a wheel. I saw a picture of his wheel the other day, so I believe he raced it. I don't think so.
Okay, no, just make sure she doesn't check your gallery. Make sure everything's okay then.
Well, there's over 4,000 pictures in the gallery, so yeah.
You should be okay.
I should be okay. It's just like open it and close it again, like what the hell, there's too many pictures here.
I like that strategy. That's an interesting strategy.
You know what's the best thing, man? Is if I send a picture out on the group. Well, if I create a poster and I send it out on the groups.
Get on Gary.
Gary goes for the overtake on the outside. He runs very wide. It's going to open the gap for Savas to go up the inside.
Savas went for it.
Oh, Savas out of the race. Savas out of the race.
This is him.
Safety car out again.
Savas is so mad right now.
Oh, this is so unfortunate. Savas out of the race. Safety car out again. So he's not going to talk to
you or Gary, dude.
Most probably not. Okay, well, back to our incident of last week. We did come to a realization that there was a bit of lag involved. Because where on my screen it showed his car in this position and my car in that position, but on his screen it showed it in a different position. So we did figure out that it was kind of blamed to lag as well. So, but this time around, he's not going to be happy about that. Going to have to see what happens with the replays they caught, because they are in an incident there and they want us to view it. They need to record it. So safety cars out again. Who's going to go into the pits and who's going to stay out? This is going to be interesting. Okay, so
Yeah,
immediately Riffy goes into the pits. Gary stays out.
But now you said to me that he's got an extra 10 or so laps on his
Well,
tires.
with the safety car, it's going to increase now. So he'll probably want to go to around lap 50 now if he can, before he puts on, 55, before he puts on the red wall tires. But Riffy is probably going to come out with the white tires or the yellow. He comes out with the yellow. I'm not too sure if this tire is going to make it for another 35 laps. The possibility, he will be hoping for that. But he's going to be on the limit.
What's his option? He will change back to the red.
Well, at this stage, if you come into the pits now, you'll want to see if you can get to the end of the race. Now,
Okay.
I believe the yellow tires can go between 30 and 40 laps in this race. I think so, I believe so. I'm not entirely sure. But 35 laps, he's pushing it, but it's possible. But he is making a call now that he doesn't want to pit it. That is what his aim is right now.
Do you think that he put it a little bit too early then?
Well, this is where it becomes very difficult, because now the thing is, we saw what he did on the red tires, and he actually overcooked the tires, and Gary was starting to get back at him. So with that being said, is he going to overcook these tires as well? If that's the case, he won't make it to the end of the race. Then he's going to have to pit again, and then he put himself in a very difficult situation. But on the other hand, it could be the tires that doesn't last that long. Then Gary needs to think of going to lap 60 before he pits again. Because then it means that red tire can only last for about 10 to 11 laps.
Sure. Yeah.
And so it makes it very difficult to decide which strategy you are going on. And like I say, the red tire can be a second faster than the yellow tire, but it wears out a lot quicker.
Much faster.
Yes.
This is quite interesting. I feel quite bad for Savas. I know a lot of the times that I've ever considered joining F1 races and enjoying races, playing Forza with some of the guys. One of the most frustrating things is when someone drives into, whether it's on purpose or by accident, it just completely messes up your race, especially with your full damage on.
Yes.
It takes you from having an amazing time to instant, I don't want to play this game ever again.
Exactly, and that does happen. We have had guys that actually quit the league, and then 3 races later they come back. Well, they enjoy the racing, but at that stage they were thinking with emotion.
Sure.
And everyone does it. There is emotion involved in everything we do. So we also tell the guys, listen here, don't take it on the group. Just if you want to, if you are frustrated and you feel you are going to say some bad things, rather first just leave the group, message your admin, say, listen here, I left the group because of this and I'm not feeling very good about it. Then the next day the guy will say, okay, listen here, I've thought about it and I've cooled down now, so add me back to the group and we'll chat about it and what. So yeah, if that happens, it shows a lot of correct word.
Sportsmanship, good sportsmanship.
Yes,
Not quite.
but that's not the word that I'm looking for. Okay, so Gary is going to start the race again now. The safety car's in the pit. And now he's got Jakes behind him. Now, Jakes is also a fast driver, like I said earlier. And if he can stick to the back of Gary now, he can get a good position or finishing result for this race. You see already Riffy going for the inside move on Fury, and he makes the pass looks easy. Oh, side by side going to the second corner, you see, and Riffy makes the pass. What's the word that I'm looking for to describe that person? Mature. It takes a mature person to do something like that. You get your guys that freaks out and then leaves the group. that we do
I'm
deal
one of
with
those
as
guys.
well. But yeah, most of the times these guys do understand it's close racing. They are fighting
Sure.
for position. They also know how to respect each other and leave space for each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is very difficult to see where the car behind you is, or even if it's on the side of you at the back, because you're racing from a view that's either cockpit or just above the cockpit, so you only see the front wheels. You can't see what's happening behind you. So if the guy behind you is right next to you, like a front wheel to back wheel, you can't see him in your screen. So it makes it very difficult to plan a move or to plan anything like that. So if an incident happens, sometimes the guys do understand it, and they take it with a pinch of salt, and they get it over and done with. But yeah, you do get some instances where it just looks like the guy's taking up the point. Then it becomes a bit more serious.
Yeah, I've got a Twitch clip I'd like to show afterwards.
I think you've got a
Of
Twitch
a certain,
clip.
yeah, certain Iceman.
You want to go back to that? My taxi moves. I remember that.
Didn't even root, eh?
The router was broken. The wires was clipped.
By the way you were driving, I'm not surprised.
So we've got Reefy now on the back of Jake. So Reefy put on the yellow wall tires. He's got fresh tires on, so he's trying to be as fast as possible. And he is trying to catch up to Gary again. So they're going to fight it out for position towards the end of the race.
And he's putting a lot of pressure on
But
Jakes.
if Reefy can pull off this move and race towards the back of Gary again, then it means that he actually got a free pit stop from that. Then it's not going to mind.
Yeah, because they've still got a pit stop, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, he might also need to pit again, but then they're both going to be on the soft tires again, so they're both going to race it out at the end.
The same sort of advantage or disadvantage,
Yes.
depending on the wear on both.
So either Reefy can take the opportunity to try and go towards the end of the race, but he's going to put a bit of strain on his tires, so he's going to be slower at the end. Whereas if Gary goes to pit on lap 60, he puts on the soft tires, he can be up to 2 seconds a lap faster. So depending on what the gap is between them when Gary goes to pit,
Reefy's going to have to make a decision.
Reefy can stay out, and got another yellow flag at sector 2, but it was just someone going wide. And we actually got Zunaid and Danadu battling it out for 10th place. Only 11 drivers left, so so far it looks like 10 of them gets points. So it's now about who's going to be the 10 that gets the points, you know? Is someone else going to crash out?
Could have had points here at this rate.
Oh,
All you
yeah,
need to do
exactly.
is stay far back and
Make sure the top guys crash out. Okay, so Reefy went for the overtake on Jakes and makes it look easy into turn 1.
And I mean that's quite interesting. That's the second time he's overtaken somebody on that corner. So he's obviously got kind of the knack for it. So the guys need to be looking out.
Well, it's also about the tires
there.
that he's on. His tires is much fresher than the rest of the guys.
So his maneuverability
he's got the confidence on the tires to push it as far as possible. Whereas these guys, they need to start either braking a bit earlier, or they are using less throttle coming out of the corners.
Okay.
Because the tire spin or tire wear is quite high, so if they're too much on the power, they will lose the back end and then it's all by. Whereas he's got fresh tires, it's all full of grip, he's just going at it. You see, now Gary is keeping that gap to 2 seconds. That is exactly what Gary needs to do now, is to make sure that gap doesn't come down. But now Gary put on his set of tires on lap 20, first safety car, and Reefy only put on his tires on lap 35. So it's a whole 15 laps difference in tire wear. The Reefy should be about close to 0.3, 0.4 of a second faster per lap than Gary at this stage.
Okay. Each lap that goes on, he's going to be.
Yeah, he should be faster.
In theory, he should be. Okay. As long as he keeps these right lines and whatnot.
It looks like we're going to be in a battle here between Fourie and Jakes. Because Fourie is half a second behind Jakes.
Oh, wow.
And then we've got Whistler. Whistler in 6th place. He's half a second behind Bearded Llama. You see, now this is also where it becomes very interesting because Whistler, not too long ago, was in 8th place. And with the guys around him crashing out, he's finding himself in 6th place. So the more guys crashing out, the higher he's going to finish, and his teammate right behind him in 7th. So it could be a very interesting finish for those two teams, or teammates. Whereas Gary's teammates already out of the race, Reefy's teammates out of the race. Drake's, I don't think his teammate actually raced tonight. Oh, Exubia is also out of the race. Bearded Llama is on his own.
Going on between Tamer and Dean.
So Tamer and Dean also in a battle. Oh yeah,
Tamer's
I see.
going for
Tamer
overtake.
is going to go for the overtake. Oh, they touch wheels. You see now, this is now where it becomes very interesting. Dean is on the white wall tires. So definitely Dean is going to the end of the race. So
On that set of tires.
on this
So
set
he's
of
not
tires. So
gonna
he's not going to pit again. So if he stays within, at this stage, there's a 5-second gap towards Whistler in front of Tamer Girl.
Yeah.
And then Bearded is another second ahead of that. So at this stage, if Dean can keep that gap below 20 seconds, I think it's about 19 seconds, he can easily grab a 4th place in this race.
Sure.
Just
Just because of the pit.
Because of the pit and because of the safety car. And you probably find, I don't know if you put on these tires on the first safety car or the second one, but this is working in his favor so long.
Yeah, and it's one extra thing that he doesn't need to worry about. You know, you've got Reefy, who's it's going to be in the back of his mind all the time, and Gary as well. You know, he's busy trying to think which lap am I going to try and push it all the way? Am I going to look at lap 60, lap 65? Where am I going to?
Like I said, Gary needs to put it in. There's no doubt about it. Gary definitely needs to. But Reefy can be the one. If he's conservative on his tires, can make them last. I'm on board here with Fourie, and he's trying everything to get past Jakes, and it's just like this straight, the main straight is just not long enough for him to make a move.
You can see Reefy sitting with the fastest lap at the moment at 120.8, which is quite...
It's quite fast. Well, it's not pole position fast yet, but it's getting... Well, from the start of the race, they were on 2 seconds, or 22, 1 minute 22s, 1 minute 23s. You're already doing 1 minute 20, so it's already making a difference. You see now, Dean is still trying to stay with the Tamer curve. The gap is just below 1 second, and the hard tire, the white tire, is even another second per lap slower than the yellow tire. Oh, we've got Gary Braden out of the race.
Oh no, what happened?
On the start-finish straight. Oh, is that going to bring another safety car? So far, just a virtual safety car. You see, now everyone is getting points. Gary will be so disappointed by that. You see now, Economic Berry coming into the pits for his final pit stop. He's going on the red tire. Is the red tire going to last 25 laps? That is a good question now. Tamer Curve finding himself now in 6th place. Whistler still is now up to 5th. Bearded in the Ferrari now 4th. So this means that no Merc is getting any points today.
Sure.
That is unfortunate. Not Natch crashing out very early, and now Gary from the lead of the race crashed again. Oh, he's
You weren't
gonna
on
be
board with him?
disappointed. No, I wasn't on board with him. Okay, so a green flag again, so no safety car, luckily. So now we've got Reefy in the Red Bull leading the race, with Jakes and Theed going out at it for second place. And already Whistler taking over fourth place from Bearded Llama. So
Yeah,
it looks like
Bearded's got to be happy with his position. I mean, he's moved up 11 according to these stats from his starting position. So that must be.
he's moved up 11 spots. That means he started in 16th place and he's up to 5th now. So he's definitely happy with that. So he won't be disappointed. But I think Whistler caught him off guard there, because I think Bearded was probably still thinking it's a virtual safety car. And as it went green, Whistler was just on it, and he took the position without Bearded Llama actually realizing it. You see now, Dean is still staying to the back of Tamer Curve, so that's definitely working in Dean's favor, being on the white tire for now, because he can grab a very good position here. And the thing with the white tire is, the longer you race it, the faster it becomes. It won't be able to do the lap times you will be able to do on the red wall tire, but you'll probably be around a second and a half off the pace when these tires are at their prime pace, you can say. And that's the one thing the guys also need to realize is, the red wall tire is a second and a half a lap faster than the rest of the tires, but they can only be that much faster for about 5 or 6 laps. Then that gap starts going down.
They start wearing
Yes.
too much.
That makes a huge difference over an entire race on which tires you actually go out.
And Boosters just put in the chat there that Gary said he lost concentration. There's no room for error here. And I think we've seen that with a couple of the guys. You know,
Yes.
just a small mishap and you're out of the race.
Boosted, is there any messages from Savas on what happened with him? You know, there was a bit of contact between Gary, but was it enough to actually take him out of the race, or was it also just a concentration mistake from him?
Yeah, from my side, I was sitting on with Savas at the time, and it almost looked as if the contact, it just took him off track, and he clipped the side barrier before he had any chance to take it under control.
Yeah, I see. So that makes a difference as well. Got Economic Berry now on the back of Zunaid. Where is he going to go for the overtake here? Well, so far we've got Whistler and Dean as teammates. We've got Economic Berry now going on the outside of Zunaid, who makes the pass down even before the corner. Shows you what different tires make.
Yeah.
Also, the skill level of the drivers are also coming to play there. Okay, so so far we've only got 2 teams finishing in this race. We've got Zunaid and Tamer Curve, and then Whistler and Dean. That's the only teams that is actually finishing both the race, both drivers so far. Anything can still happen.
Sitting on board with Reefy, and he's really racing clean up front here. He's taking it easy. He's not pushing it too hard, but he's really hitting his lines almost every time. It's actually quite pleasant to watch. Without any conflict from anyone behind him. He's just concentrating on what he needs to do, and he's doing it pretty well.
Well, for now, he's got a 4-second gap between himself and second place. And like I say, if he needs to pit again, then this is exactly what he needs to do. I believe Jakes also needs to pit again. Jakes might also go to the end of the race. You never know with these guys. They can conserve their tires, they can make it last very long.
Do they have any sort of indication on their HUD on how well their tires are doing? Is there like a green, yellow, red kind of system?
Yes, so you can, well, on my controller I press B, then it changes a setting on your HUD, shows something different. So for me, I press it like 2 or 3 times, then it shows my tire wear per tire. So you've got a graph actually that shows the 4 tires and also what percentage of use you've had on them. So you go from 0% to 25, I think 30 is still green. Then from 30 to 40, it's yellow. Then it goes orange by 50%. And then it can go to red past 60%. And if it gets to 65%, most of the time you will just lose control of the tires or of the car around every corner, or you'll end up having a flat tire.
Okay, so around 60 you want to be changing.
You want to change, because then you already passed the prime and you're just losing time staying on there. Okay. It also depends on what lap you are on. I mean, if you are 3 laps towards the end of the race, I would rather say, you know what, just push it through to the end. You're losing around 3 to 4 seconds a lap, or maybe less even. Oh, you see now I'm on board with Bearded Llama. He touched the curb and he just lost it on the curb, and he's stuck on the middle of the road now. He went from 5th down to 7th. With Economic Berry now behind him, all 18 seconds down the road behind him. But if Bearded needs to go pit again, actually not. Bearded is also on the white tire, so he's also not going to pit. Him and Dean. Dean still staying on the back of Tamer Curve, and the pair of them is only like 7 seconds behind 4th place. You see now, Fourie into the pits. Now we're going to see, I'm going to get on board with Dean. Dean is coming across the start-finish line and Fourie is still in the pit. So with every person that needs to pit,
he's going to overtake
Dean
them.
Is going to overtake them, and that's going to put him in prime position for the finish of the race. So this is working out perfectly for Dean now. Tamer Kerr finding himself in 4th place. Whistler now up to 3rd, but Whistler probably also needs to pit again. If Jakes needs to pit again, this is where Fourie needs to put down fast lap times, so that if Jakes needs to pit, Jakes is going to come out behind Fourie. So it all comes down to the strategy as well.
And this is the end game. This is closing seconds where we see their strategies come out, but we have no idea what their plan is pre-game. They can only sort of figure it out during the race, or do you think they sort of come into the race with an idea of what
Riffy now the fastest lap, 1:20.4. But
and
to
get
back to
that today, in the last 3 laps, so he's really doing. He's cruising.
He is trying to increase that gap over 2nd place. So because now between 1st and 3rd place is 15 seconds.
15 seconds. That's a big gap. 8 seconds between him and Jakes. That's quite something.
Yes. So he's already looking. If Riffy needs to go pit now, he's probably going to come out between 3rd and 4th place. So if those guys in front of him then needs to pit again still, then he's in prime for winning the race still. If they don't need to pit, they will win the race if Riffy goes to pit again. To come back to the strategy, so before the race starts, you will have an idea of what you want to do in the race. So you've worked out that, okay, your yellow wall tire, if you start on the yellow tire, you can go to, let's say, lap 30. From the start of the race to lap 30, and then you're going to swap over to this tire, and then maybe make it towards the end of the race, or you're going to have to put again to swap to another tire. That is what you plan on doing. But in the middle of the race, safety car comes out. You don't know if the safety car is going to come out in the beginning of the race.
Yeah.
You don't know if there is going to be a safety car. You don't know.
Yeah,
Is it going to be early in the race? Is it going to be at the end of the race? You never know. So there's always like, okay, what I'll do is I'll see, okay, if the safety car comes out in the first 3 laps, I'll probably go into the pit and put the hardest tire on and try and go as far as possible.
Okay.
But if it comes out in that cross path of it's close, well, it's in the middle of my strategy, is it worth going into the pit? Because this is now a decision you need to make very fast. So
Very
if
quickly.
you are in the last couple of corners and the safety car comes out, you need to decide then and there, let's say I need to go into the pit or not. So you need to consider what lap you are on and is it worth changing the tire.
Jeez.
You see, now Fourie is only 4 seconds behind Dean. So the question here is, can he catch up to Dean quick enough? And the second question is, will he be able to pass Dean? Because passing or catching up and passing is different thing.
But now Dean's not going to need to.
He doesn't need
He's
to
not
put
going to
again.
need to pit. But
Yes.
he's on the yellow tires and Dean's on the white tires, so he's
Yes.
got the extra 0.5/second per lap.
Per lap, yes.
So over time we're going to see. But then again, now I'm busy like putting together the puzzle webs that you've designed for me, and now I'm understanding that Dean is almost hitting the prime with these white tires, so it might not necessarily mean that he's losing that time yet.
No, but you can see already the last lap, Fourie took out over a second from him.
Over a second, yeah, now it's only 3 seconds.
So
difference.
the yellow tire, at its when you get it or start racing with it, you will be super fast with it. But the yellow tire is also only going to start losing performance after about 15 laps, I believe. So it does make a difference, but also, like I said, it depends on. It's one thing to catch up; it's another thing to pass. And that's where the big difference is going to come out. See, Rifi and Jakes has got a 10-second gap between them now.
And now that is exactly the sort of distance that you want in Rifi's mind if he needs to pit.
Yes.
He's a lot less worried about it, hoping that Jakes and Whistler still have to pit as well.
Yes. Well, I believe Whistler still needs to pit. I'm quickly having a look. You can almost see the tires wearing if you're on board with the person.
You're looking on Whistler
Yes, I am on Whistler now.
as they look a bit more bold.
Well, if you're on board with him and then you go to Fourie that just came out the pits now, you can see Fourie's tires is a bit more shiny.
Okay, and still has actually evidence of tread.
Yes, well, these tires are completely slick, so they don't actually have tread. But they've got the top layer of the tire. That's the sticky part. It's a bit more shiny, and that's where all the grip is at.
Okay.
So if you look at Whistler, you can see his tires is a bit more dull.
Yeah,
So he
a
is,
lot less shine off the.
yeah, he
sun
doesn't have
coming
any
in.
shine on it. So it means he's already used up most of the tire already. So he's probably going to have to put again. See, Rifi also doesn't have shine on his tire. He's already done, 22 laps, or 20 laps on these. Another 15 to go. It is possible. But we'll have to wait and see how it works out. And then also we need to check at the penalties. We don't know. Fifi, how you are doing? Okay, so Tamer curve is now within 1 second of Whistler. I believe Tamer has pitted under virtual safety car. We'll have to see if he can. He has actually closed down the gap between himself and Whistler. It was 3 seconds not too long ago. But can he close it down enough to go for the overtake? And then the penalties is going to make a huge difference.
Did you mention that Furi's gone past Dean? Because
No,
you were
I
saying
didn't.
they're going to battle out, and now...
And
he's
I can
actually
see he is in front. I didn't even see that pass.
just-
Because the last
just
time I
taking
checked, he was
position.
still 2 seconds behind Dean. So just like that, he was past him.
Yep.
This didn't even give us time to actually view the
And
overtake.
yeah, and now he's also... he's pulling a bit of distance.
Yeah, it's already a second gap. Well, like I said,
Yeah.
Fury will be able to make these tires last towards the end of the race. If Jakes needs to pit again, Jakes will come out behind Fury. There's no doubt about that at this stage. So Jakes, he would want to go towards the end of the race. And the same with Whistler, but Whistler is now under pressure from Tamer Curve. Tamer Curve is now 1.1 second behind him. Boosted, I can quickly bring up the penalty updates. So what you can do, Theed, is if you press pause, you can go to a race director.
Okay.
And then at the top there's drivers and incidents. So if you tab your right bumper, you go to incidents, and then you can actually scroll down and see all the warnings and then all the penalties. And then to see who's got
see a lot.
what. There is a lot. And
That is a long list.
there is a very long list, and 3 seconds, almost everyone has got at least.
All right. While you start writing all the stats down, I'll keep talking.
I'm not going to write it down. I can tell you this, that Dean has got a
Roosted
lot
wants
of
to know.
penalty. I just want to see if the top
Jakes is
three.
pitting now.
Jakes has got a 3 second penalty. One. Whistler's got a couple of penalties. Economic has got a couple of penalties. So yeah, there's definitely guys with a lot of penalties here. Whistler now up to second place with Tamer Curve right behind him, also 0.8 of a second behind him. So this is going to become a good battle to watch for the next 13 laps, unless Tamer Curve can get past him quickly. And Fury is also...
and Dean took over Jakes once he pitted.
And that's exactly what I said. Jakes, because he pitted, he is now behind the pair of them. And also, if you look at it, before Fury pitted, he was like 0.4 seconds, 0.5 seconds behind Jakes. And just by pitting when he pitted and started and putting in the laps, he is now 6 seconds ahead of Jakes.
Jeez.
So it makes a huge difference. But now, the other difference comes in. Jakes has got 12 or 13 laps to do on the Red Bull tyre. That Red Bull tyre is going to be 1.5 seconds a lap faster for the next 5 laps about.
Yeah.
So can he use that advantage to catch up to the back of Fury again?
I mean, he's changed to the red at the perfect time because he's given himself a gap between the 10 and 15 laps that the tyres.
You see, and I'm on board with Jakes. He's going to try and go for the overtake on Dean. DRS open on the main straight, and he goes up the inside and makes the pass look easy.
That was really well done.
And Bearded Llama is just past the Economic Berry, but Berry into the pits. Llama staying out. Ganadu also up to 8 now. Okay, so let's see. Fury is now within a second of Tamer Curve, and Tamer Curve is within a second of Whistler. And Rifi has just put himself in position to go and pit and come out ahead of Whistler.
And I've got some interesting stats here on the tyres. So Rifi is sitting on 23 laps with the yellow tyres. Same as Whistler, also 23, and Tamer sitting on 24 laps. So the chances of all three of those guys needing to pit, if Rifi pits, the other guys are going to pit. Because they're all sitting on the same amount of laps.
Now this is where it becomes very interesting. So now Jakes is on the red tyre. So Jakes can now grab the fastest lap. So if Rifi wants that fastest lap, he's probably going to come in, change over to the red tyre to get the fastest lap. You see, and Jake's at a 1 minute
Jake's is
19.4.
just, yeah.
So now Reefy is going to think about it. Listen here, it's an extra bonus point for the fastest lap. Do I come in for that soft tire and go for the fast lap, or do I just go for the win and get it over and done with?
Rather
This
win.
is what they are thinking about as well now. But
What
Reefy has
decision
got
are you
the-
making in the situation?
Well, the thing is, now, the referee needs to consider how much penalties he's got, if he has any. Is it worth for him coming out and get the soft tire and going for the fastest lap? Also then risking going for the fastest lap and then losing control of the car and then throwing away the win.
So Riki's pitting. Is he changing to the red now?
He's going to he's going to go for the fastest lap now. So he's already considered his options and he thinks that's the best option to go for, and he wants the complete package of the win and the fastest lap.
And
You
he's
see
made the
now-
time difference. So he's cool. He's
Exactly.
way ahead. Still in first.
Now he's got an 4-second gap. And Tamer curve on the inside of Whistler. Gets, touch between him and Whistler. Whistler grabs second place back again. Ivan going up the inside. Oh, another contact between the two.
He
Pushes
sneaks in third as
Whistler
well.
down. Oh, Whistler into the wall. Whistler out of the race. Is that going to bring out the safety car? Safety car's out. Safety car's out. Whistler's not going to be happy about that, because that was tight racing between the 3 or 4 of them, because Jakes is also now on the back of Fourie. And now this is going to work in the favor of Fourie. Oh, Bearded Llama also
Bearded.
out of the race. Where did Bearded Llama lose it? Same. Oh, the straight. Where is the. Okay, safety car's waiting. Exit
You said
on a sheet.
you're on board with Barry.
Bearded lost it earlier on the. Probably the pit straight or the first corner. No, he didn't. Let's have a look. He lost at the same place, more or less, as Whistler did. See, Ivan going into the pits, going for the soft tire. Fourie going into the pits for the soft tire. Dean going into the pits for the soft tire. So Jake's back up to second place again, but now the rest of them is all on the same tire, but now Tamer and Fourie and Dean will be on much fresher tires from this situation that they found themselves in. So now this is the safety car for the 3rd time.
There's going to be a lot of upset races, dude. There's going to be a lot of upset races.
There's going to be a couple of upset guys. A couple of things that the admin's going to have to deal with. But so far, an exciting race, close racing.
It really has been
These guys are
yeah.
close to each other. And now it's going to be all out 9 laps. Well, it's probably going to be 8 or 7 laps towards the end of the race. And the top 4 is on the same tires.
So now the strategy with the top 4, the guys are saying, we're going for first place, or we're going for fastest lap, a bit of both.
Well,
Because
the
now
thing
with the
is,
safety car, it's making it really tight, and he's lost that.
so this is where it gets very interesting, because now bonus or the point for the fastest lap is only 1 point. But the difference between first place and second place is 7 points.
Wow, okay, that is a big difference.
Yes. So the fastest lap is now going to not matter for these guys, because each position they climb up between the top 4 is more than a point extra. So these guys are going to battle it out for the win. And the guy on the freshest tires now is Tamer Curve and Fourie. And Danadu now finding himself in 5th place ahead of Dean and Berry. Oh, Berry also into the pits now. Zunaid also coming through the final couple of corners. Zunaid will probably not make it back to the back of the pack before the safety car comes in. I think the safety car is probably going to come in the end of this lap.
But now Dandadu's not changed his tires, so he's on 28 laps with his yellow tires. Is he gonna go for the rest of the laps?
Yeah, he's gonna make it to the end of the race. The thing is, Danadu is he's just here to finish the races. He's not worried about position or whatever. He just wants to finish the races, and the higher up he can finish, the better it will be for him. So he's not worried. He's just one of the guys that's joining. He does practice, but he's not worried to be the fastest or whatever. He just wants to finish the race. And you know what? Someone just got wing damage. Fourie with a 5-second penalty for driving into the back of Tamer Curve. And he's got wing damage now, so that's not going to work into his favor now. So far, it looks like it's going to be Tamer Curve is in the driving seat because now Jakes and Rifi in front of him is on much older tires. I want to quickly see the tire usage or what tires they are on. You see now Rifi on 2-lap old tires. Safety car goes into the pit. So a race on again. Jakes is on 5-lap old tires. Tamer Curve 1 lap. The Tamer Curve is actually in the driving seat for this one, but Jakes going for it for the overtake here. Jake's going to go up the inside, or is he going to go outside? Outside it is. Is he going to go for the overtake? Side by side. Jakes wants this win. Jake's up the inside. Oh, he's going to be latest on the brakes. Oh, and there's a touch between Jakes and Rifi. Oh, taking each other out, and Tamer Curve just says thank you very much. Oh, and who's this? Rifi, Economic Berry going all the way back. Oh, Zunaid also caught up in that. Jake's now in 6th place, Rifi down in 5th place, and Fourie finding himself in 2nd. Dean in 3rd place. Dean is going to be absolutely happy about that. You see now Danadu in 4th place, but everyone behind him is probably going to have to go pit now because of damage, because the Red Bull's got wing damage. Jakes has got wing damage. You can actually see the half of the front wing is missing. Economic Berry doesn't even have a front wing, and Zunaid as well. Front wing is gone. So Danadu is in the driving seat of getting his best result ever. Dean also with the 3rd place, best result for him as well. Tamer Curve going to take the win in a Renault, which wow, this is
it's not over yet. There's still 6 laps.
6
Anyone
laps to
could
go.
Clip anyone. I think if we have.
Well, it also depends on
race at this rate.
if anyone is going to finish the race at this stage. Lumpies, all good, man. Thanks for watching with us, enjoying the spectacular race that we've seen so far.
Gee, whiskers.
I'm lost for words at this stage. Okay, so an interesting fact is that Rifi actually doesn't look like he's got wing damage, does he? Oh, and he loses at the back end again. I can't see if Rifi has got wing damage. Doesn't look like it. It goes up the inside of Danadu. Tries to take a 4th place. He gets 4th place from Danadu.
Yeah, wing looks intact to me.
It does, so you could be very lucky about that. Oh, Dean lost half of the wing. He's coming into the pits, so he's giving 3rd place back to Rifi now. Dean is going to drop down the order to about, 6th place now. Now the question is, how much penalties does Fourie have and how much penalties does Tamer Curve have? Because these two is now within a half a second of each other. 5.5 seconds up the road from Reefy. And they just going at it with 5 laps remaining. Ooh, this is getting tight. Got Jakes now a second behind. Jakes has got wing damage and he's still catching up to the back of Dandadu.
He's just taken another 3-second time penalty. I think, I think there's a lot of frustration probably on the track now because you don't go 60 laps in and then something like that happens and you lose your
Well, the
position
thing is, that is a very difficult situation they were caught in. I think it was also a bit of adrenaline flow pumping through the veins, going for the overtake for first place. I mean, if I look at my previous or earlier tonight when I was doing the rallycraft, when I was leading that final race of my lobby, my heart was pumping out of my body. That's how much adrenaline was pumping at that stage. So these guys are getting close to the end of the race. And they is looking at the oppositions of where they can finish. Jake's
big take on Reefy.
And because he doesn't have a half front wing missing, he overshot it and he's battling it out. Manages to get past Danadu eventually. And Danadu now back down to 5th place. Let's see what Dean can do. So at this stage we've got one set of teammates finishing the race. And that is Tamer Curve and Zunaid in the Reynolds.
Yeah, they're going to be happy with that result.
Definitely. I mean, Tamer Curve, let's see, where did Tamer Curve actually start the race? Tamer Curve started 10th. And he's currently leading the race. So
leading the race. And Zunaid has had a bit of a tough race, and the safety cars have really helped him. And now sitting in a pretty 8th position just for, not crashing. That's
exactly.
A really cool
and
result.
Same with Danadu. Danadu is just putting in the laps, making sure he doesn't crash, and he is currently finding himself in 5th place, 16 seconds ahead of Dean. And we know Dean has also got a couple of penalties. Dean again losing half his front wing. I'm not sure if they are changing his front wing, or did he lose it again? Dean really struggling without that front wing. Reefy is now 2 seconds behind Fourie, but now it's going to be the same situation. He's going to come up to the back of Fourie, and he's probably going to struggle to overtake Fourie. And we've got Fourie now 0.3 of a second behind Tamer Curve, and unfortunately not being able to do anything about it. Tamer Curve just making sure he's going to finish the race. That's all he wants to do now. Trying to keep it on the black stuff, not going off track. Oh, this is interesting stuff. Oh my word.
Reefy's just trying to make up the pace, but just Fourie and Tamer they're just keeping the pace up nice and solid.
Yeah, it's 1.5 seconds back to Reefy now. Ooh, it's going to be close. Okay, Fourie is going to try and go for the overtake. Can he make it? No, not close enough. Tamer Curve just fast enough on the straight. Tamer Curve working his ERS nicely, making sure he keeps it on the straights on 5. And during the slow parts of the track, he keeps it to 2 or 0. I'm going to start on board with Tamer Curve as he comes through this very tricky section here. Corner that you can almost take out flat out if you have the right line. But Tamer Curve almost losing it. Tamer Curve needs to keep his mind set straight now. He didn't worry about who's behind him or where on track he is. He just needs to focus on his lines. Make sure he brakes where he needs to brake. Throttle when he needs to be on the throttle.
I'm sitting on board with Fourie, and he is putting a lot of pressure in the rear. It's quite interesting because he pushes up close and then just to the back off. And I think he's hoping that Tamer Curve's going to make
a mistake. You see now, I'm back on board with Fourie now as we get to the final 2 corners. and you can actually see Curie is going to go up to, he's already on number 4 on his ERS, Tamer Curve on number 5, and you can see that difference. Even though Curie has got full BRS open, Tamer Curve just has enough space to actually outrun the Curie at this stage. Now they've got Rifi also behind them. Oh, this is very close. If you guys are wondering, it does look like there's a bit of a glitch on Rifi's car. He doesn't rev the car like that permanently. I don't know, it's just a sound glitch or something. It sounds like he's permanently on the limiter and on the... Well, these cars doesn't have a clutch, but it sounds like he's running on a clutch. Yeah. I don't know why it's doing that. But yeah, these 3 guys are very close to each other. Whew, an interesting race. Let's see if Rifi can get back up to first place again. Well, one thing about Tamer Curve is normally he doesn't get a lot of penalties. He does get his drive-through penalties, but that is mistakes that can happen because of yellow flags and stuff like that. So he's already had his drive-through penalties. So if he doesn't have any actual penalties, then he can actually have a very good result here. And we've got Rifi going for the overtake on Curie now. Can he make the overtake on the outside? Oh, side by side with Fury. Fury just out-drags him into the second corner. Oh, this is very close. Oh, small touch on the back of Fury. At least no damage done. This is the final lap. The only thing that Tamer Curve needs to do now is keep it on the track. And then he can win this race. Well, we're still going to wait for the penalties. Yeah, that we'll only see after the race. But this is one of the closest finishes we've seen in this league. 3 guys within half a second off of each other.
And it's been like this for a lot of the race.
You know, exactly.
Seeing Gary
the top 3 guys has been this close the entire race.
It's been really entertaining. Are you okay?
Oh, this is getting exciting, eh? This is getting exciting. Okay, Tamer Curve coming around the final corner.
From Fury on Tamer on this final?
No, it's too little time. There's the checkered flag. And we've got Tamer Curve. Oh, Tamer Curve dropping down to 3rd. Rifi actually winning the race. Rifi winning the race. You see what penalties does.
Yeah.
Jake's finishing in 4th place. Let's see what Danadu does. Danadu is currently in 5th place. He'll probably still finish in 5th. He's only 2 seconds behind Jake's after Jake's penalty, so it could have been a different story for Danadu if he was a bit faster in that last couple of laps. Dean coming around to finish in 6th place. He's 27 seconds down on Danadu. Now it's up to Economic Berry. How fast can he catch up? Depending on how many penalties Dean has got.
And Rifi did secure the fastest lap with 1.19.
Yes. Economic
So he's
Berry
gonna be happy
finishing
about that.
in 7th place. Then we've got Grenade.
Taking it easy.
Yeah, he's just been there making sure he finishes the race. And he's coming across the line in 8th place. Oh my word, what an exciting race. The half is happy. The half is extremely happy. He's Red Bull won the race.
Wow.
Street Racer, because he cannot name the player here, but the other driver smashed him. Okay. I'm not sure who is Street Racer, but yeah, everything will be taken care of on the group. If you've got a clip to submit, just send it to one of the admins and they'll sort it out for you. And there you guys see it, the Red Bull winning the race. What an exciting race. Oh my word. You see now Tamer Curve with 9-second worth of penalties. Furi 8-second worth of penalties. Reefy with a 3-second penalty only. Who had the most penalties here? Berry, 8 penalties, accumulating to 24 seconds. Oh, that was a close one. Oh my word.
I mean, there was constant battling. There wasn't one moment where we found a gap where we actually, there was things that we missed. We were like, holy crap, okay, we deviated for a second and we missed somebody taking someone over, or, you know, that race was...
I'm trying to catch my breath here. Oh.
In, and then out, and in.
That was exciting. We had 3 safety cars. I think that's also the first time ever. We've had I think we've had up to 2 safety cars, but never 3. So that was exciting. We saw magnificent accidents. I mean,
yeah,
word.
There was some serious racing going on.
Yo, that was close. Can't believe how close it was. I mean, at the end, Reefy took it by 4 seconds. But I mean, that was due to penalties that these guys didn't or had from the race. But wow, top 3 the entire race. Wow,
absolute battle.
I was just
absolute battle.
Freaking amazing stuff.
It was really well done. Well done to all the guys out there. Sorry for the crashes. But unfortunate, but these things do happen. You know.
Thanks,
the nature
Boosted.
of the beast.
Appreciate watching the stream, and thanks for keeping us company in the chat. Word, that was just amazing stuff. Oh. Listen, guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the stream to whoever else is streaming. I'm quickly gonna have a look and see who is streaming, who we can raid.
Good man. So hang tight for the raid, please. Don't go anywhere just yet.
Yes, please. Just stay for the raid. Let's raid. Let's see. I've got Bumfluffsky. Is he still on your side?
He is. Yeah, he usually shoots until like 1 or so. Let me just double check. I'll double check for you. Let's have a look. Just waiting for it to load. It does say he's live. He is in the lobby at the moment. Just have a listen to what he's got to say. Yeah, no, he's...
Is he still streaming? Okay.
He's strong.
So the...
Forward slash?
Oh, is it /? I would have said exclamation.
Space. And then at.
Oh, you mean raid and then at.
Sorry, yes, yeah.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Yes, it is working. Thanks, guys. Stay like we gonna raid this awesome person.
Yes, man.
You guys,
man, thank you for having me tonight, dude. It was really good fun, man.
It was awesome having you. Thank you for joining, and I hope we're gonna do it soon again. It was fun as hell.
It was really good, man. Thanks for having me.
We had a very good race. Thank you so much for joining, and guys, on that bombshell of a race, we'll catch you guys again. Cheers, guys.